We're live. Hello, everybody. We got our little Johnie with us, and look at him. Every time Johnie shaves, dude, I swear to God, it's like I swear.
Takes 10 years off me.
It does take 10 years off you, dude. Like I'm telling you, Johnie, when you shave, I swear you look like 24, 25.
More delicious.
He does. He looks like a baby. And I love him.
A baby.
Oh, good. I hate facial hair, so it'll stay off as long as I can get it off.
Oh, little Johnie. So did you want to, Yoda, did you want to tell him about your idea? I'm going to go glaze
He was lurking. He heard it.
Yeah, Johnny's a lurker.
Yeah, you just tell me when. Just tell me when and where, and if you want me to be there, I shall be there.
Okay. You'll participate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we had some pretty cool discussions today when Yoda was over, when we were making like 20 different types of soup. And
yeah, we were able to
figured
have a little
out.
breakthrough with Miss Becca.
Yeah. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting.
We did a reflection of her shadow.
Mm-hmm. So it went to, okay, so here's me being a little bit not so private. So Yoda and I were talking about, I don't know, I don't think it would be a trigger. It was more like how I get so pissed. Like, it's not, Johnie, it's not like, and I'm sure you know this, it's not like an annoyance. It's not, I don't like it. It is a pissed, like a pissed off crazy person when it comes to very boastful people.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we figured out today what caused that. And I was like, oh, holy shit. I never even.
And we had to like walk it back.
Like walk it way, way back.
Way back from childhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
We went way back because I asked her the question. I'm like, okay, well, you're very passionate about that topic. So have you asked her? Because we were already on the topic of reflections, right? Of looking into things. We were having the discussion about what I wanted to do, my idea, right? And so I was giving her an example, and we chose that, you know, as I chose that as an example, and so we kind of. I had to like walk it back, like, okay, so this is an example, you know, like, okay, you're very passionate, you know, you have this strong passion about boastful people, you know, and there's a reason for it, you know, like it's not just your normal dislike. It's like you have an extreme dislike for boastful people, you know. So like this is how I got her attention, right? So then she's all, yeah, actually, yeah, you're right, you know. So then we walked it back, you know, and we were able to find. I mean, it took us a while. We were sitting up here talking about it, and then we went down to the kitchen, and then we were like, oh wait, yeah, you know what, this and this and this, you know, and she was able to pinpoint, holy shit, this is what it was, and this is where it began.
And I can't get rid of, hey Jay, hey CG, I cannot get rid of that extremely strong, hateful dislike of boastful and arrogant people.
Do you feel as though you need to?
Huh?
Do you feel as though you need to?
Sometimes it feels like a character flaw, like I'm being excessively judgmental, but
it's not the getting rid of the feeling. It's maybe just kind of toning down the expression of it, maybe.
Because that's bad.
Because you don't have to, you're entitled to, you are very entitled to not liking something. That's not taking away from it. And what was funny in the moment of us making that realization, it's like it took me down a road of realizing that I have the same dislike of the same thing, right? And it took me down a road when did I, get that instilled in me?
Yeah.
It was a different reason, right? But it was something in childhood that I was taught was wrong to do, right? That it was boastfulness was looked down on, right? That you don't do that because you're trying to
Put somebody else down.
put somebody else down or be better than somebody else, and that it was always just not a good thing to do. So I mean, to this day, it's not something, I don't like praise. I don't,
Nope.
I don't like it. I'm uncomfortable with it, and I don't, and it's almost an extreme version of it because I don't want to make others uncomfortable that may be seeing me being praised. It's like this crazy, worrying about others rather than, just accepting the praise and taking it and moving on. It's like more of it's discomfort. So we had this moment of like, wow, we have this similar
Dislike.
and discomfort in the same thing,
Yeah.
which was crazy, which goes back to why I want and have this idea, because you can have these commonalities, with other people, but we came to it in a different way. Hers is different. Her root is different than mine, but
Yeah.
we have the same dislike or the same, if we're going to call it the shadow side, of that. So it was
I don't
interesting.
know where mine comes from, but I have the same thing. I don't like people who lack humility. It drives me crazy.
Humility,
Modesty,
people that are
modesty,
arrogant for the sake of arrogance, where you feel that you need others to praise you. You should have that within yourself, to where you don't seek praise, or you don't.
Don't like praise. I don't like people.
Nope, I don't either.
It makes me uncomfortable, and I've never been used to it. I don't care. And mind you, my whole life, like I've said this before, and I don't mean this to sound braggadocious when I say this, but I always attract different types of people. And therefore, if I go in a group of people, a whole lot of them tend to like me. And then I'm always the new person to a group. And then there's somebody else there who wants what I have, which is just the attention. And then they don't like me all of a sudden.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm the bad guy because nobody's looking at you. Meanwhile, I don't go into a room, even with my Gemini power of talking for 11 hours straight. I don't go in there and talk to everybody. I'm the wallflower. People flock to me. And so it makes me uncomfortable for somebody to have that sort of feeling. That jealousy and humility, I think, are just, or lack of humility, are just the worst character traits a person can have to me.
Absolutely. And jealousy and envy, I swear I run from that. I don't want that shit anywhere near me, because that, when a person is jealous or envious, they're already coming from a place where they feel less than. So they're trying to tear you down beneath where they feel they are.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And that is destructive. It is disgusting. It is arrogance, and envy are the worst ever. Like, I just get that shit off me. I don't want to be anywhere near it. And even, and Yoda and I were talking about that today. Like, even if there's a person around you that feels envy or some sort of jealousy, even though they don't come out and say it, the undercurrent is always there, because it'll slip in a mannerism, in a way, something that they may say. Something's going to slip, and it makes it extremely uncomfortable. And it's just, it doesn't serve anybody to harness those sorts of. Always
God must be nice. Okay, run from that. That ain't something somebody happy for you would say.
Nope. We were talking about that today too, and along with the discussion about, I have the same thing, Johnie. I can't stand a person that lacks humility, because by nature, I guess I'm a modest person. I don't like people praising me. I don't want people praising me in public. And if somebody's trying to praise me, the first thing that crosses my mind is, what the fuck do you want? You know what I mean? Like, why are you buttering me up? What do you want? You know, like, I don't like it. I do not like it at all. I am completely content in my own person, that I don't feel that I need that from another person. It just makes me uncomfortable, you know? So
yeah, that's what Jackie says too. My opinion of myself is more important whether others are criticizing or praising, which is what it should be, right? Like, you should be comfortable in your own
with
skin.
your own skin. Yeah. And that's not to say that we're all perfect. I have serious flaws, as do other people, you know, but I just don't understand how some people need validation from others.
Because I think a lot of times they have one thing, and that one thing is what they cling to, and they want other things. So if all I have is this, then I want you to praise me for it. I want you to flock to it. I want you to pay attention to it, because this is pretty much all I have.
Yeah.
And I want you to make sure that's magnified in your life too. That way, when you look at me, you see that one thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't have nothing else to give you.
Yeah. And
I'm kind of a shell of a person, because I'm probably damaged on the inside. Therefore, I have nothing else to offer you. It drives me insane. I try to stay away from people who want to be the center of attention. If you just are, fine, then I'm happy for you. Go for it. Yeah. But if you just want to
when
be,
you're a natural center of attention, right? Yes. That's perfectly great. But when you are that type of person, for example, you, Johnie, people are just drawn to you, right? You don't need to draw people to you.
He's not out there doing cartwheels dressed like a clown seeking attention. He's just
right.
He's a genuine person. He's authentic in his character.
Well, some people don't understand that. They don't see the difference. You know what I mean? They think they have to do extra. And so Sajine, was it Sajine? Am I saying it? Sajine? He says, yes, the undercurrent always rats them out.
Yeah. And it's true. And then we were talking about, what else were we talking about? The my extreme hatred, because it's not even a passionate it's a fucking hatred of boastful people. And then I went on this entire rant about my complete and utter disdain for people in communities that are charlatans. And then we were talking about it, and I was like, well, it's not just in the tarot and reader community. That shit's everywhere. Look at churches. You have the churches that are regular folk that go every Sunday because they really do feel that there is something greater than them that they love and whatever. Then you got the assholes that are like, let's use fear to manipulate these people and shove my ideals down everybody's throats. Mm-hmm. And then you have the other assholes who were like, look at those stupid sheep. We will gladly take your money because you're a bunch of idiots who just, want to pay for your, I don't know, forgiveness in the afterlife. So let me buy a private jet and go fuck yourself. So it's kind of everywhere, but I don't think we talked about that part of it though, Yoda. Like, you always have the good eggs and then you have the bad eggs. But just like in religious communities, just as there is in other communities like tarot communities and all that stuff, how do you differentiate between people that are authentic and people that are just charlatans?
Well, Okay, so
because I can see a bullshitter a mile away,
I know.
like
and usually I can too.
Yeah.
But my thing always is, what business is it of mine if it's not affecting me, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they are a bullshitter, right? Is it my job to oust them? Is it my job to do something about a fake person? Okay, because I'm not just talking about charlatans. I'm just talking about fake people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what is the question? You know, like, what am I being bothered by them? Am I angry? What is my problem with these people
Mm-hmm.
of all these types? We are all triggered
Yeah.
by all types, right? I'm triggered. Trump triggers me. Looking at his face triggers me. But am I gonna run out and try to, find some dirty laundry on him and oust him? Am I going to, if my neighbor, is a total whack, and she's fake and she's, uppity and this, that, and the other, what am I going to do? Do I need to bring her down a notch? Is it my duty? Like, I need to be able to, like, not worry about that woman.
I
I
think
need
some
to
of that is a bit self-serving or self-centered, and I can admit to that part too. Like for instance, I'll drop a name here too, like Jen and Becca. I know those two because I've gotten readings from them. I know that they're legitimate
yes,
readers, that they're legitimate. I know you hate the word, but close your ears. They're legitimate psychic. Like they know what they're doing.
right.
They have not just know what they're doing, but they actually studied their craft. And then there are people who just fake it to make it. And it's not my job necessarily, like you were saying, to out them. But it's like I said, it's a bit self-serving because I know two people who can do it well. And I feel as though this person over here makes it look bad.
Yes.
So this is what I was telling Becca. I'm like, it bothers you. I understand, because Becca has had this in her life since she was a child, right?
Mhm.
It's sacred to her. She knows what a true psychic is, a true shaman is. She's been there, she's been around it, she's been exposed to it all her life, and it's sacred to her.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I was able, to advise her, because I will advise her, because she's my friend, my sister, is worry about the two people that you believe in here that are your friends and have your back and have been constant and consistent.
That's
right?
you and Jenny.
That's Johnie and Jenny. Like, I'm sure there's others.
But
I'm sure there's
it just-
others, but you know what I mean? It's like, you can't worry about the rest of the world if they do not show the level of see. Yeah, I know she can't. If they don't show the level, but if you were to do it in your here world with friends, what would you do? Drop them like a dime. You drop them.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to do the same
But
thing.
I know, but it's just like,
I know you worry about the people.
what, huh?
You worry about people. Like, okay, so
It's like following a false prophet.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you have politics, you have, the evangelists, the fakes, you have the people following them. You can't save everyone. That's the thing. You can't save everyone. So you just can't save everyone. That's like me trying to save everyone from an issue. You know what I mean? I can't save everyone just because I learned something. I can try, on like what, my idea and everything. That's my only way that I can share my experiences so that maybe I can have an effect on somebody else.
But here's the thing. Here's what ticks me off. And I'm going to say it real quick. Hold on. Un momento, por favor. So, the way I grew up and the way that I was raised, with all these, I guess what people would call psychics and seers and stuff, they never shouted it from the fucking rooftops. You would not know. You would not know.
I know.
You would not know.
And not everybody knows that. And then you have to have that understanding.
I understand that. But what I'm also saying is, okay, most recent example, years ago, I had gotten a reading from a woman way back when I was active duty military, and she was a reader in Visalia. And I went and I paid for a reading. I went and got this reading, and this woman's busting out a regular deck of playing cards. And I'm just like, oh shit, I just got ripped off. You know, like, because I was expecting tarot. That's all I knew, because that's what I grew up with, along with the Spanish playing cards. And this woman did not advertise herself as being a psychic or a medium or anything at all. And when I went in there, I was tight-lipped about everything. And that woman was dropping shit and names like that, Johnie. I didn't have to give her anything. Oh, yeah, in 6 months, you're going to get a new card. Larry, Gary, Jerry, Perry, something like that. 6 months on the dot, I got a new car from Perry Ford. You know what?
Yeah.
Nowhere was it advertised. So when I have experiences like that with certain people, that they're just really good at what they do, and they don't need to advertise it. When I see people flouting it, it's just like, it just looks like fucking theatrics to me. I see it and I run, you know, because it's almost like charlatanesque to me, if that's even a word.
But that
you know, it's a show. It's a fucking show. Like Mateo.
There's a impish artist. Becca, a long time ago, you posted a general observation on this topic, so spot on. I had just donated my measly $1.49, which we always appreciate over here, mind you, because you don't ever have to that person when they came out with the most arrogant, crazy stuff. This is why this is important. And like I say, it's self-serving, because we don't have to care about this. But at the same time, I know legitimate people who are readers. And it's nails on the chalkboard when I see people who don't care, or who just want YouTube fame or some sort of adulation, or they want to lift themselves up and get the bullhorn. Oh, I'm psychic. Oh, I'm a this. Oh, I'm a that. And that's fine. If you want to look, can't nobody promote you better than you. So, okay, fine.
Right.
But when you are so much about you, you cannot be in spirit. And this is from a spiritual perspective I speak.
Amen.
Yeah, exactly.
You cannot possibly be in spirit if it's about you, because if it's about you, if you are ego driven, if it is about you, then spirit cannot use that, because you are the one that's now doing the talking. Everybody can be wrong, but you're going to be wrong a lot, because you are the one trying to do the interpretation instead of being the vessel for your spirit and your craft to speak. So that's why I don't want to scare people away from reading cards, but it's a lot more serious than YouTube. I don't get caught up in flash and likes and clicks and all that type of stuff. It's a lot more serious than that. It takes a lot more dedication than you just going to buy a deck of cards, and next thing you know, you read the book in 2 days and now you're a reader. No.
Or a psychic.
You need to learn the meanings. You need to learn the combinations. You need to learn how things change when they're next to each other, when they are, just a lot to it than just, I need to point the camera at myself and now let's go.
And not just that, Johnie, but it comes with all forms of any of this sort of stuff. For instance, mediumship. Yes. Anybody can sit there and call themselves a medium. How many people are actually doing it?
Yeah. Or close your eyes and say, your grandmother's coming. She says she loves you. Okay, I'm pretty sure she does.
Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? Because even then,
you can't debunk that, right? Because your grandmother loves you.
You know, but even then, it takes practice to know, and then it takes a great deal of trust to know when you're actually allowing yourself to be a vessel, you know, like for something else to work through you. And it's like, it's like that with everything, not just with card reading, but in mediumship, in channeling, in if you're trying to work on your clairvoyance or your clairaudience or whatever, you have to allow yourself to put your bullshit and your ego aside.
Yes.
And your job is to just be the vessel. That's it. Period. Like there is no self-serving, I'm doing this for accolades or thumbs ups or, because it's, and that's what really, I was telling Yoda about it. I was like, that's what really disgusts me. And I know that that's a very strong word to use, but to me, it's a form of disgust, because to me, all I ever want to do, and I will say this till the day I am dead, I will fuck up a reading really bad. And then I have to go back and figure out, how did I fuck up that reading? But I will always say, I do not know everything, because I don't, So what really disgusts me is people putting stuff out there like as if they're an authority or they have some sort of access that everybody else doesn't have, or, it's just, it's like you're not even respecting source at that point. Because the only thing I ever want to do in this lifetime, I was telling my sister about it, it's never going to happen, is I just want to understand source. I cannot go in there and blindly trust it. I can't. I just don't work that way. I just want to understand it, and it irks me to all hell when somebody thinks that you can take something so grand and so vast, put it in a little box, and then put a label on yourself like, I have special access.
And I mastered it. You cannot master.
And I mastered it. You will never master any of it. No. So
it's not possible.
Yeah.
You can be really good at it, but you will never master spiritual tools. It's not possible.
No.
It changes. It's older than you. How are you going to master it in 90 years at the most, 100 years? You can't do it. You can't even, some people on this earth cannot even learn patience in 77 years. You think you're going to learn mastery of spiritual tools? I just don't think that's possible.
No.
You can be good at it because you do it a lot, but you're not going to be a master.
It just, I don't know. It just kind of, I was talking to Yoda about it. It just really irks me, because to me it looks like disrespect. You know what I mean? Like,
because it is
like a toy. Like this here, you're treating it like a toy.
Yeah.
And I think Yoda and I were talking about this months and months and months ago, and I was asking her, I was like, do you think, this was my question and my hypothesis, do you think that if I was just a bullshitter who was just looking to feed my own ego, and I bought a deck of cards and I just started playing with them, because I have no respect, I have no intention of learning how this works, I have no intention of using this as a source to connect, this is just here to serve my own purpose, okay? Is it possible that if you start, for instance, as an example, start using cards to read, but you have no intention of connecting, and you just start pulling cards, will this even answer you? Because you're already going in there with a premeditated, already biased opinion of what your reading is going to say. Do you understand what I'm saying? Am I explaining that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Like, say I want to know, I'm self-serving, so I want to know, does Yoda like me? And I get that. And that.
Yes. It's gonna
and this,
It totally answered her.
But if I don't take the time to learn this and study this, I could have pulled out, I don't know, this, and say, let me see.
Mice are little, and there's the letter. She's your little pen pal.
Yeah, So, do you see what I'm saying? Like, would it answer you, or does it like break?
It will answer you, but you won't interpret it correctly because you won't move yourself
they would
out.
not have interpreted it correctly.
So you think that the tools will answer no matter what, regardless of the dedication of the user, or
because
not even dedication,
the person didn't create it. So it's not going to break because you're not a legitimate person. What it's going to do is reflect the answer, and you're going to change it because you don't know what you're doing. No matter what it is that it says.
So
no
what
matter
if your intent, what if, to ask Impish's question, Impish is saying, and if your intent is not pure, what sort of thing gets channeled? That's what I want to know.
Your ego, because that's what you're operating in. Because you don't care about the answer truly. You care about getting your opinion across. So if it's to say, does Yoda like you, and you pulled the tower, then you can be like, yes, she does. Because if that's the intention you want to get across, then you can say, well, she's like your bolt of lightning. She comes out of nowhere, saves the day, whatever the case may be. Because you have a preconceived notion already. This is you doing the talking. This is not some sort of channeling that you're doing. There is no spirituality to this. It's just you bullshit, because that's what you can do. Nobody's going to stop you.
I think the cards answer, and like you said, the interpretation is what's going to get screwed by that reader or that person.
And
it's easy to do.
And it's not even that, because I have always, there's been times when I've had my intention set and blah blah blah, and I have still fucked up a reading.
Yeah, I've done it. I do it all the time.
Yeah, I do it. I do it all the time. Regardless of how much I practice or how much.
Now, I will say, in your regard, in people like you, in y'all's regard, I should say, people like you, people like Jen, people like Lori, people that are grounded people. When you get something wrong, because you're allowed to, because you are still a human vessel trying to interpret a spiritual message in an ever-changing world, so you're going to get something wrong. Everybody is. But when you interpret something wrong, what happens, I think, a lot of times is we fall victim to repetition. And so when you see a certain combination of cards, it always means this, because that's the way the system is built. But in particular case, their life is still moving. And so it may not be complete. This may not be a complete thought. This is what it is right now. Or you have a definition in your head that you don't use the other ones of. You just always use that same one. If I see the tower, it might be a revelation. Well, maybe we're not talking about revelation. Maybe we're talking about an actual tower. Maybe we're talking about an actual building that's falling down instead of a revealing of knowledge or a disaster about to happen. So when you get sort of pigeonholed into certain meanings, it is very easy to mess it up, especially if you have always used that meaning in this context for that person. Their life still changes, though. Nothing is set in stone, not even stone itself. You can still break it and do other things. Nothing set in stone. So it's very easy to get something wrong. It is very easy to misinterpret. I think the difference comes is when you feel as though that person is misinterpreted because they don't know what they're doing, or because they just made a mistake.
And mistakes happen. I'll be the first to say, oh, I fucked that reading up big time.
That's another thing. Do people come back and say, hey, I got that wrong?
Not a lot. Not a lot. I've seen, quite a few very quick to
I got it right.
I got it right, but never, oh, I fucked that up, But for me, I keep notebooks, I keep journals. I learn from my mistakes. I can go back, pull out my read, and look at it again. For instance, the Grand Tableau I did on Roger Stone. I fucked that thing up beyond fuckery. I went back, I looked at the tableau. Oh, dumbass. Look what was next or below coffin, what came after coffin. You know what I mean? So it's it's a good opportunity to learn, Yes, it's hindsight, but it's still a tool to learn. So this goes back to being humble. And my sister and I were talking about it. A humble person will learn from their mistake. An arrogant person won't even acknowledge that they were wrong. So how much is there to learn? So I don't know.
Because I have to learn to slow down my readings, because like all of my bar readings, when he first popped on the scene, all of them were wrong. Every single last one. And it's like when I start pulling cards and I think, okay, this is the way it's going, and I just keep going that way without tying the whole message together. It's like you get the first 3, 4, and I think, okay, this is where it is, because I've seen this before. So therefore, I'm already at the end of the read, even before I pulled the last card, and I got to be right because I was always right in this situation from back in the day, and that type of thing. And then it's wrong. So, but I'm fine with that too, because I really am not trying to. I'm not trying to save the world with my tarot reading. This really is just for entertainment purposes only. It's not like I found something in my reading and called the FBI. So it's not like I'm trying to change the course of history. It's really just for grins and giggles for me. Like, I'm not so divested to where if I got something wrong, I'm devastated. It's not that big of a deal. I got it wrong. Okay, learn from it and move the hell on. That's my thing.
See, my thing is, and I think I've told you this a million times before in private, so here I am saying it in public. There is a code that I just want to crack. Not for, look, I cracked it. No, it's because I seek to understand the essence of it. Like, how do these symbols relate to something that, because all it is just symbols. So how
you and I have talked about this, and we've done many readings on why does this work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I asked Yoda, and Yoda's was like, well, think of it this way. Because here I am in my mind overcomplicating it like I'm some freaking Einstein with a PhD in freaking advanced theoretical mathematics. I do not have those tools. Okay, I don't, But to me, in my mind, there has to be some sort of a code or a formula or something that I can say, this is how this works. Like, I'm seeking to quantify it in some way, which is absolutely impossible. I will never have that. I just want to understand. And Yoda was telling me, she's like, think about it this way. She's like, you're using this to ask, what did you say? The great conscious.
The collective.
The collective.
Consciousness.
And it just answers. And I'm like, but how? How does it work?
The answer's already there. You just ask the question and it just pulls it. There.
But that's what came up in one of the readings, though, is that the answer is already there. They just use this to explain it to you.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, here is the answer. But in order for you to understand that this is about bickering and fighting, I'm going to show you this one. Yeah. Because this is the card for bickering and fighting. And then you're like, okay, now it makes sense. Yes, because I showed you something in your world that will explain what it is I'm trying to tell you. If we didn't have this, it'd be something else. It'd be clouds, it'd be four-leaf clovers, whatever.
The question is already there too. The question is already there too. So
God, that blows my mind. I just want to know how. How? Can you?
We got that answer a million times. That doesn't stop me from asking it, though.
Right. Because there's no sure answer, right? To that,
there's no hypothesis. Right. It's something that can't ever be proven. But it's just like, God, if I can just. Not because I want to do anything great with it, not because I want to go save the world. I just want to know.
That's a good one. Thought energy. It's like, why not?
Oh my God. And then I went down that whole fucking rabbit hole of energy. I was like, what kind of energy? Are you talking sound energy? Are you talking wave energy? Are you talking thermodynamic energy? Are you talking light energy? Are you talking wave? Like, I went through and Googled every single freaking type of energy there is and be like, okay, is there a math problem that I can tie this?
Yeah. Okay, so crazy. You guys, there's a little secret I'm gonna let you in on. So forever, Ms. Becca, she's got a very scientific mind. I think a long time ago when you first started this channel, I think I tried to explain it because she's very good at what she does, but she has a very scientific mind. So she always tries to find a connection, but she's always very, skeptical. But then she's such a true believer, like
I'm a skeptical believer.
She's got this conflicting thing with her mind and her heart, and it's just like in her heart, she knows, but in her mind, she's got that mathematical need to connect it like that. Yeah. And it's just science,
I just can't. I was telling Yoda, I was like, I'm going to go back to school and take a bunch of math courses. And she's like, why? So you can get a fucking PhD in math? Like, you're going to figure this out? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of stupid. You know,
well, it's like people trying to completely separate religion from science, and they're connected. I mean, spirituality and science, it's all
you just
connected.
can't explain one. It's like there has to be some sort of universal law.
It's connected.
That connects it. Like the other day I was watching a video and there's this
yeah, I used to be a skeptical believer. I used to call you something.
Oh, Johnie was saying his computer is restarting. He'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
Like there was this thing I was watching.
Is that what I used to call you?
What? Yeah, you used to call me a skeptical believer.
This funny lucky girl just called you that.
Yeah. I have an issue inside of my brain. There was
lucky girl. I used to call her that.
There was a show I was watching about consciousness and the soul and this and that and the other thing. And they had this doctor on there who is into the study of consciousness and the metaphysical. And he's a legit doctor, like a medical doctor, PhD. He is an anesthesiologist. And he got very interested in figuring out what happens when you get put under anesthesia, because it's not like you're asleep. You're just not fucking there. So it's like you're in a moment of you're suspended, because they put people under anesthesia and they would run basic tests on them. Like, they would have their eyes taped shut, like as if they were going under surgery, but then they would flash lights into their eyes to see if their brain was still conscious, and the brain would still react as if they were awake. So his theory came out of, he got really interested in like what happens when you get put under anesthesia, because you are not, like, it's like they took your consciousness out of your body. It just, you're not asleep, because if you're asleep and somebody's cutting you open, you're going to fucking wake up. Like, you're just completely disassociated from your body, And he came up with this theory about it being in these microtubules in the cells. And there's been a lot of backlash from the, medical community. And it's just like, it's those little sorts of things that interest me. Yes, I lack the tools. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a mathematician by trade. None of that stuff. But I look to those people that are answering those types of questions, and I'm extremely interested in their theories, because you cannot tell me that this can exist here and that exists over there, and there is no link other than faith. You can't, my brain does, it does not compute. It does not compute. There has to be something there outside of faith.
This can't be happening without
this. Yeah,
exactly.
So what's the link? That's all. I just want to find the link. Where does it connect? And it's never going to happen in my lifetime. You know what? Maybe I'll get it like those 2 seconds before.
Maybe it's just one thing.
One continuous thread.
One end is the understanding of one population, and the other end is an understanding of another.
That doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense.
I always want, like, for instance, long time ago, when I first sort of became Christian, I always wanted to know, does God have God? Because where human beings exist, we have a source. You come from your parents, they come from theirs, so forth and so forth. Where does this thing come from? Does God have a God? Does God have a source? Does God pray to something? Does he go and buy his people creating supplies from some sort of store? Like, what else is going on in his world that it so greatly affects ours? Is he really sitting watching us walk around like an ant farm, or does he not care? Because in the Yoruba culture, Olodumare is the supreme god, but he doesn't interfere in your life. So you don't necessarily pray to him because you know he's out watching Matlock while you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay your bills. And so you have to pray to whatever else. It's kind of like if God was to just go do something else and you had to then consult angels for everything you needed.
Yeah.
And so it's always wanting to know the source of everything. Yes, this works because the answer's already there, but who's talking to me?
Do you see what I'm saying, Johnny? Do you see what I'm saying?
And who put that there? Who put that there? Why do you work? Why do you work? This thing talking to me, this thing answering my questions. Why do you work? Why? What is your mechanism? Are you sitting somewhere? Are you standing somewhere? Are you talking to me some kind of way that is not audible, yet I still hear you? Like, I want to give me all that. And I try to convince myself I don't need to know, but I still want to know.
I just to understand it, Johnny, not because so I can go scream it to the world and start a church or no. I just want to know for my own.
Well, check out Pamela's.
I know, and I saw her story about her doing open heart surgery and the patient. There were so many stories about that in the thing where people were under anesthesia, completely, absolutely unconscious, checked out somewhere else, and they came back with, oh yeah, you took this tool and this was over here and da 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 da. Endless accounts.
So Pam,
so it's like, where
did he say he was outside of his body and that's how he saw you?
And I've seen those stories, Pamela, and it just makes me go, what the hell? And I understand the limits of trying to use science to explain something like that, because science will tell you that person just imagined it because they can't find the evidence. But it's a totally different thing when you have patients giving absolute detailed recollections of a surgery while they were under anesthesia. They knew who was standing where, what they were talking about, who was doing what was playing on the radio, you know what I mean? Like
it was an actual real remote view.
Yeah.
Because they could see something that they should not have been able to see.
Exactly. So it just that whole video, that whole documentary blew up my brain because I'm like, are we talking an NDE here? Not really, because you're under anesthesia, so you're not about to die, you know? But it's almost like the theory that this doctor, this anesthesiologist is putting out is that he believes the soul and consciousness resides in the microtubules of the neurons inside the brain, which has been rejected all over hardcore science communities, you know? But it's like, how do you explain then? How do you explain those instances where you have a patient on a hospital bed cut open, you know, but they can tell you exactly what was happening? That doesn't.
I had surgery once where I went under anesthesia and it was just like sleep. I blacked out and woke up. That was it. Now, when I was a kid, I could see myself walking around the house.
I used to do that too.
And I'm like, I don't know. It was weird because I'm standing there and then I see myself get up and walk around. And I had no idea what that was because I was a kid. And looking back on it, it's still weird, but
I've had the ones when I was little where I would be like laying down, totally asleep, but I can see my arm getting up, but it wasn't my arm. It was like an arm inside of an arm.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying? And
You're
moving
astral.
and getting up. And then I would just wake myself up, you know, like I would jolt myself awake, you know? And I had that, I think the last time that happened was right before I went into the military. I was, my friend, high school friend of mine, and I were trying out meditation. And I say that in air quotes because whatever. But we were laying on the ground trying to meditate. And dude, I was laying there like this and I could see. I knew it was my body, but it wasn't my body that was like getting up. But I saw it inside of my head. And then I woke up. I didn't even know that I had fallen asleep. It wasn't like a sleep. It was just like I was lucid enough to where I could see, like, this is my arm, and then there's an arm here that's coming out of this arm, if that makes any sense.
I had, okay, now in my adult life, now that you say that, something jolted me awake a couple times because I felt like I was dying. And I'm asleep, and mind you, I have no fear of death. If it came right now, I don't really care, because why fear it? It's going to happen anyway. And I'm laying there, and I feel like, okay, I'm laying on like a bed of darkness, not darkness as in evil, just dark. It's just dark. And I'm laying on it, and it's like sucking me down into it. And so then I'm like, okay, then I jolt awake because I'm like, what the hell is that? Am I going to hell? What's happening right now? And mind you, I had left the room or nothing. I hadn't gotten up. I just felt like I was sinking into something. And that's the one thing that I can say that I was conscious of it, and yet it jolted me awake. And it wasn't a nightmare because nothing scary was happening. It just was unfamiliar to me. And so I'm like, I'm not ready for this, whatever it is you're doing right now. Meant to be, because I ain't ready. I ain't ready, I ain't high, and I ain't drunk. So you got to tell me what is going on before we start doing this.
Oh my God. I've had those too.
I always get jolted. Yeah. Or feel like I'm falling off the bed and I have to like pull myself back.
I've had those, but it's like I can see my body coming out of my body. It's the weirdest thing. It's like I can see it inside of my head, like I'm getting up, but I'm not getting up. It's a body inside of a body.
Yeah.
If that makes, I don't have a better way of explaining it. Like,
yeah, I can totally visualize that. Yeah.
You can? Okay, because I know it's
visualization.
Because it sounds weird, like a body inside of a body that's getting up. Like, it's just the best way I can explain it.
No, it actually reminds me of the exercise that Jen taught us.
Oh, for when we were doing the healing energy.
Remote, yeah.
Healing energy
and
work.
That's how I visualized it, the hand coming out of your own. Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing, I was like, damn, I got a crazy imagination,
So I've been on this I guess journey to meet all my ancestors and things, or at least
how's that going, Johnny?
They told me it's too many. You're not going to meet all of them, but you can meet a lot of them. So and that gave me a parameter because I want to meet all of them. I kept saying that. Was like, well, there is no all of them because time is older than you. So this goes way back. But so I don't know if I had a ancestral dream yesterday. I don't think I did because it didn't feel similar or familiar. But I had a dream yesterday, and I had it in parts because I kept waking up, and then when I went back to sleep, something else happened. And the rest of the something else, I think, was probably just dreams because I didn't remember them. I remembered the one, though. So I am somewhere. I don't know exactly where. I'm at someone's house, though, and which is unusual for me because I'm never comfortable in other people's spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some woman I was talking to, and there was an old man, or older man. He's, probably 50, not old, but he's older than me. And his clothes are in the driveway. And something is telling me just run him over.
What? Run over the clothes, not the person.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God, Johnny.
Like, just run him over. And I'm thinking, why run over his clothes? Just pick him up. And, but no, just run over his clothes. And I don't know what that means. Like, at all. I didn't do a reading or anything. But what does that mean? Just run him over. Just run over his clothes. Like, why are his clothes in the driveway? And see, this is, us picking stuff apart. It's symbolic, so it's not like he's, But I'm thinking, why am I running over his clothes?
You were driving a car.
Yes, and that's definitely out of the
That's
question.
definitely weird because Johnny's terrified, and he's like, I'll never drive. I'll kill people.
I will. I would have ran over him and his clothes.
Well, yes, please. I think in my, I used to have a lot of car dreams, right? And it was at a time when my kind of life was a little bit out of control, and it was always dreams of my car. I would lose control of my car, You know, I'd be driving, I'd either hit a slick road, my car would lose control. I don't know, it would swerve, you know, or the steering wheel would lock up, you know, some shit would happen with my car, and it was always my car, you know. And I actually looked it up somewhere, or in a dream book, or I think my sister had a dream book, and apparently the car is, you know, your direction, right? The way you're going, and it like supposedly meant that, you know, of course my life was kind of messed up, so I felt out of control always. So whenever I had this car dream where my car was swerving or doing something, it's like I felt like I was not in control of my life or my direction or the way, you know, whatever was going on in my life at that moment, you know. But
it was crazy. I never got behind the wheel of a car, and there was not even one in the driveway. But they were telling me to just run it over.
oh,
And
so
it wasn't the woman I was talking to wasn't telling me. It was like something in my head was saying, just run it over. And I'm like, why run over his clothes? Why not just pick it up? And who is he? His face flashed in the dream, but he was not there. And so I don't know if I was like scared to step on the memory of somebody, or if this was just a message of like piss or get off the pot type thing, to where you think you're being held back by an obstacle when you're really not. But
yeah.
I don't understand. So I just said whatever, because it wasn't my intention anyway to have such a dream. I wanted to meet ancestors, and you gave me some run clothes over message. So it's like, I don't know what this means, and I'm not trying to figure it
Or
out.
maybe you didn't remember the whole thing.
No, I didn't, because it's in parts.
Yeah.
And the other parts
wasn't clear.
come back to me once I woke up. So I just figured that was the crust of it, at least. And I don't know.
Huh.
I just forget it. It'll be what it is. If it's important, it's going to come out anyway. So
Run over
I do my personal readings for, like, I always do my, like, what my July will be like and all that type of stuff. And if I tied the two together, there was an uncomfortable conversation that I had to have with somebody that I do business with, is what the reading was saying. And so maybe there was something, because I didn't want to run his clothes over. And so maybe that was this uncomfortable feeling that I had, that I was doing somebody wrong, but that person was not even there. And it didn't matter that they weren't there, because I know I still did it, type thing. And so I think I was creating obstacles for myself where there weren't any. And maybe that's what it meant, because that's what my reading was saying. Is, although he may never know, although it's not that big of a deal in the long run, it's a bigger deal to me. And I was telling Jen and Becca this too. There was, and you know who this is, there's another person that I don't want to hurt their feelings, but I don't want them to keep asking me for stuff either.
Yeah.
And so I hate to turn people down. I hate to say no. I hate to push people out, because that's what it feels like when I say no.
Yeah.
And of course, Adrian was saying where you don't honor your throat chakra, which I don't,
Right.
when you don't speak your truth. And so it's like, but still, I don't want to feel like I'm being an ass. And so I always guard against such a thing. And although those aren't my clothes and he wasn't even there, I still don't want to run his stuff over, because it's not necessary. Especially when there's not even a card there for me to get in to do that. But it just felt flippant the way somebody said, well, just run it over. I'm like, well, no, just let's not run it over. But so I had that double-edged thing to where, am I creating an obstacle, or am I being respectful? Which one am I doing? So the reading said it's going to be uncomfortable, but you need to do it. So you created the obstacle, is what I think it is.
Well, who are you? What are you really protecting? The person, or are you protecting the discomfort of a situation?
That's what, because I don't want to be uncomfortable,
Yeah,
and I don't want to be.
yeah,
It's an I thing. It's
yeah.
there's that ego.
And there's gonna be discomfort, whatever choice you make. You
Mm.
know. So,
And I don't want, because see, I don't ever want to come across as, like I said, the ass. But
yeah.
at the same time, you still have to honor that throat chakra and speak your truth. If that's what's really in you, then say it. If that other person takes it however they take it, then that's on them. And
Yeah.
that's the part I never really wanted to indulge in, is the it is what it is mentality. Like, there's a way you can say it to where,
Well,
you're
and
not.
in the future, one thing to do is we need to see the red flags way earlier so you can nip it in the bud then, and not have to do it this way, or
Mm.
wait till you feel vulnerable and used, and all these yuck feelings that you're going to feel, and have that discomfort way early on. And the discomfort isn't going to be this discomfort you're feeling now. It's going to be more empowering, because you're just putting your foot down. And in that moment, you're going to have the opportunity to see if this person is even worth it, because the ball's going to be in their court to show you their face. You know what I mean? To show you, you know, their true colors.
Because I got King of Swords. I forget what that is in the center, but basically 2 of Cups, 10 of Wands, the Devil, 3 of Cups. I have a uncomfortable conversation about ego and selfishness that needs to happen. Otherwise, it drags on and gets worse. So whenever that comes up, then I have to remember that. And then, of course, I have to remember her words. You're not honoring your throat chakra, so speak your truth.
So when the message came about running over the clothes, what happened before that?
I don't know. That was the beginning, actually. It was the stuff after that that didn't come back to me. So I figured that was just remnants of something else.
There
Because
was
if
more.
it's a message for me, I remember it. If it's just, your subconscious playing pool, then, I don't really remember that part.
But don't you think that that is significant in and of itself, that yeah, you had the dream, but that's the specific part that you remember.
That you
So you
remember.
got
So
the
you
message.
got a
Mhm.
message.
You got the
I'm
message.
thinking the same thing.
Regardless of what everything, you got the important stuff out, because that's what was that's what stood out to you the most.
Yeah, that was the mess. I always remember the message, or the dream, I should say, and then I get up and I usually do a reading to figure out what in the world was this talking about. But this time I didn't, because I really wasn't all that interested. Because it was so obscure that I thought, this has got to be the allergy medicine talking or something. It makes no sense. Run over his clothes.
But
Just
if it felt significant, like there was something there.
It didn't feel significant. I know it was significant because that's the part I remembered.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't ever remember the parts I don't need to. And so I figured this is something giving me a message, but about what? I don't know.
But I find it very interesting that you're wanting to meet your ancestors and talk to
Yeah, I've met
them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them.
So how do they come through? Do you feel them, or do you see them inside of your head?
No, we have a whole experience. And so it almost feels like all the while I was sleeping, we were sitting together at some point.
So they come to you in your sleep when you're dreaming?
Yes. Well, 2 of them, no. 2 of them came when I was awake and I thought I was tripping.
Really?
I
How
was
does
awake,
that happen? If you
and
don't
I was
really
looking towards this door. This door is always closed because I don't like open doors. And there was something moving across the floor like that. But
Oh.
it looked like a bunch of cards, like
Oh,
leaving copies of itself behind itself.
hmm.
And it came
wow.
up and it came up to me and then it stopped and then it went away. And I'm like, okay, what is that? And it had a symbol on the cards and I didn't know what it was. And so I did a reading and I think this person was oppressed because it almost looked like a crown, but it was a bar. And it had little spikes coming out like that. And there was like two here and then two big giant ones in the middle. And I'm like, well, this was probably someone who was enslaved. And that was the end of it. And I didn't get pushed back to where, oh no, that's wrong or nothing like that. I will tell you this too, just a little update for a behind the scenes conversation. There was one lady, I said there was one of my ancestors who was white, either white or very, very, very fair skinned. I am Creole too, which is fair skinned French, like black people.
Mm-hmm.
But she was on stage
I
and
remember
she had
this.
her arms wide open like that, and she was getting the cheers and the adulation and all that.
Mm-hmm.
She was on a set of a cooking show.
Yep.
And off to the side, there was her kitchen, but she was off stage, getting the cheers from the crowd. And there was a snake moving on the floor. And I'm standing there kind of like in the situation. It was almost felt like out of body to where I'm there, but I'm not acknowledged because I'm not really there type thing. And so she came over to the stage part and she hugged two people that were standing there. And I said to her, I said, there's a snake on your floor because it's like winding over on her garbage can and all that type of stuff too. And the garbage can was full, which I'm sure is meaningful. So the garbage can is being, have this snake wrapped around it. And I said, there's a snake on your floor. She said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. It was very, very like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I know it's gigantic, but I got this. I do this all the time type thing. And so I was sitting here doing the reading and she came to me again.
Oh.
About what all of that meant because I didn't know what it meant. I just accepted it. That was her on stage, and then the bright lights off to the side was exposure. And remember, we were talking about exposure.
Yes.
There's some exposure coming. That is what she does. And that's where she was getting the camera flashes and the adulation, and there's some exposure coming. And so I'm like, oh, son of a mother. It makes sense now why, she's in this kitchen place and she's basically on TV.
So she's like basically like Oprah Winfrey holding a cooking show, except she's a white lady and everybody's praising her. And there's a snake coiling around a garbage can. And you're telling her there's a snake over there. She's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
And it was all about exposure because all the
light part. She's standing off stage where it's dark because there's cameras and stuff back there. The light part where the kitchen is, that's where the snake is. So she was telling me that she is going to do some exposure. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. And then the other one, a moon that I told you about, I told everybody when I was doing the walk-in stream, he was walking away with the kid when I passed him in the little market. And I did a reading and he came to me and that all of that, like I literally, my mouth was open. Like, I'm like, oh my God, now I get it. The kid was me. I did a reading and he, back in the day, smuggled children away from slavery or smuggled them away from indentured servitude or whatever they called it where he was from.
It's slavery, Johnie.
Yeah, so he got the kids away, some of them anyway. So he did that a lot. And so that's what his message was to me, is that I am taking you away from the garbage, from the horribleness, from whatever it is that you are fighting against. Because when I passed him in the market, he had his arm around a kid and they were walking away. And then that's when he turned to me and smiled and the whole thing like that. And I'm like, okay. So all of that is now coming clear to me. I don't know about the snake cards on the floor. I don't know what she's going to do just yet. Maybe that was just a meeting because I said I wanted to meet some more. But they've came back and they told me what they were going to do and what they were doing.
And I think that that's wonderful, dude. Like, do you mind if I share the story of the phone call that I gave you that one day when I was freaking out in my house?
No, you go right ahead.
Is that okay, or is that too?
Go ahead.
Okay, so like for Yoda as well, I was in my house one day, and I have a routine where Saturdays, every Saturday, I try to properly clean my house. And what I mean by properly clean is a full cleanse on Saturdays. I sage, I mop my floors with my floor wash, everything. And I was in the middle of all of that, and I was going to the sink to do my floor wash, which is basically basil, holy water, cacarilla, and agua de Florida, Florida water, you know, with prayer and all that stuff for my floor washes. And every hair on my body, including the hairs on my toes, were like standing up. And it was like instant that it was like, oh my God, I sound fucking crazy. It was instant that, help me out here, Johnie. It's,
So she called me and she said, because you know how she does. She said, I sound fucking crazy. And there's a rose coming to me and says that you're not listening and they want to talk to you. So I'm like, so what's interesting is I have a relative on the other side. When I say ancestors, always sound like they're from 900 years ago. But I have a family on the other side. Her name is Rosella, is her name. And I still kind of don't. If I be honest, I don't really care for mediumship nor at the time ancestral talking. Like this was not my lane. I just want to read my magic cards and be fine. I didn't want to talk to, you know, people who were dead, even though that's what this is. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go into that realm, but they have always been coming to me. I get the word death rings around my head like, you know, a bell. So I'm like, okay, I know who that is. And, you know, Becca went on for 2 weeks saying, I just think I'm crazy. I made it up. No, you didn't make it up. Because they have been trying to come to me, and she was right. I was not listening because I didn't want to. And so they said, well, they want you to build the altar and all these type of things. And I'm like, no, I'm not building an altar because I don't want ghosts walking around my house and all this type of stuff. And I don't want, you know, people just dropping by when they want to. And now right over here, I got one. So there you go. But, but yes.
It was her, another lady, and an older man that were here. But the only name I got was like a Rose. It was like a loud thought inside of my head. It was like, nope, this is Rose, and she's here for Johnie. You know, and it's like, I was like, I am fucking crazy.
My uncle was there. That was the older man, and because my mother's family is primarily female, all of them, and my uncle, on my father's side. He was there, and that's where I got the crystals from, where I started reading the crystals. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he even knew he could do it, or if he ever, because I've never heard of it. It's kind of like y'all were saying earlier, to where there's psychics in your family, nobody says anything.
Nope.
But that's where I got the crystal reading from. It's from him. So they are all there trying to get my attention. It's just not something I wanted to do.
And that was a weird experience because, like, usually when stuff happens to me, it's usually direct family or something immediate with my family. You know, like one time I was, my sister and I were practicing, and it was about her brother, and she asked me for a name, and I was like, the only name I'm getting is Miguel. And she's like, no, that wasn't his name. So all this stuff later on, we find out who Miguel is, and it's like, oh, that makes sense. You know, so it's like, but in the moment, I struggle with I made that up. I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about. I have a wild, you see what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
going back to the whole, this sort of stuff takes practice. It does. You don't just throw it on and say, yep, I'm psychic. Because you have to learn to discern. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I have a big problem with it because I'm so analytical that it's like I almost shut it off. And then when it does happen, it's like, I
And
feel like
that's,
I'm fucking right.
I never wanted to do it. And mediumship, I'm still not even 100% comfortable with. I do it because some people ask, but it's never something that I advertise that I am. I don't ever go around, I don't go around saying I'm psychic, but I don't go around saying I'm medium for sure, because I just is not something I ever signed up to do. But I had one yesterday, and I'm getting all these messages and all these symbols and all this, and that person had no idea what I was talking about. They were like, "No, I don't know who that is, and I don't know who that is." And I keep, Jen's voice is ringing in my head. Evidentiary mediumship. Don't just say, "I got your grandpa here and he loves you." That means nothing.
Yeah.
Give me something. Do you have a rocking chair that I can tell them about? Well, give me something that they can say, okay, that's who that is. And everything I was saying, they still had no idea. And so then, of course, the reading's over and fine. All of the reading part, it was completely resonating with them. Is when we got to the mediumship, they had no idea who these people were. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I just made that up. It's like, what went wrong? Was it me, or did people come through they just don't recognize, or they didn't give me the right symbols for that person to jog their memory, or maybe they were too far back and they were a kid when you died or something like that. So I just felt like, okay, this is why this is not my lane, because this makes no sense to even me. I'm sitting there spouting out, oh, there's this name, there's an older man, and he's got this, and they have no idea. That might have been somebody's grandpa. That might have been anything. So should I just start making things up? So
Yeah.
I'm still not comfortable with it because it's not always, I can't back it up with anything.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did the readings, it resonated. The person was like, yes, that makes sense. Yes, that makes sense. And I'm like, okay, then we're on the right track. We get to the medium part, nothing made sense. So now I feel like I've gone off the rail, or I just made it up.
Yeah. And I struggle with the same thing, Johnie. The same thing. Like, hell, we just had that a few days ago, last Sunday. And what did I say? Well, I just fucking made that up. You know what I mean? So it's like, so.
And then you get people who sound 100% like they're making it up, and they have no problem whatsoever calling themselves psychic mediums.
See, and here's my thing. I'm gonna tell this story. It's probably told it a million times to Johnie, so he's probably sick of it. When I was younger, I was about 11 years old, my mom had a friend from Cuba that had left Cuba. He left during the Mariel, which was like in the 80s, I think. And he was living in Hialeah. And he was in his home country, Babalao, which, for those of you that don't understand, that comes from the Regla de Lucini. From the Yoruba people, it's a religion, Santeria is what we call it. And the man, I swear to God, was clairvoyant as hell. I got a reading at 11 years old. That man saw my life up until my mid-20s. I remember very specifically him saying, your colors are blue and yellow. You're going to work with aircraft and computers. I was 11 years old at that time. 11 years old. Life happened. Life took its twists and its turns before I knew it. We were living somewhere else. I had a very great neighbor who had a very positive influence in my life, Grandpa Bill, who talked me into joining the Navy. Well, guess what the colors of the Navy are? It's blue and yellow. What did I do? I worked on computers and airplanes. it could be argued that he planted the seed of suggestion. Do you see what I'm saying? But it's, there were other things that were so specific that it's like, when I've seen somebody do something like that, it's like I have this standard now. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not only because he was a religious man, because Yoruba is, you know, it's a religion to the Yoruba people, you know, but he was not boastful about it. It was just a reading, and it's like, what I struggle with is like that right there proved to me, and I still think about it to this day, that there is something out there that people can connect to. And it bothers me to see people mock it for their own selfish purposes. But at the same time, there's a part of me that thinks, I wish that I could do what he did, because that to me is clairvoyance. I was 11 years old. He saw my life up into my mid-20s. I joined the Navy at 18. I started working on airplanes. I think I was 19 when I first started working on jets. And it's like, to me, that's clairvoyance, because he was able to see 7-8 years ahead, you know? But it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, it proves to me on the one hand that something is out there that is abundant and clear, and you can get this information. And then there's another part of me that's like, God, what would it be like to connect with that? Like, how would it feel? What would it do to your head? Like, what would it do to your emotions to just be able to connect and understand it at that level? Like, there's some sort of knowledge that I feel that people, the true people, have, that that
it's like because mind you, I like tarot cards. I love tarot cards. I mean, I have 200 freaking decks, right? But honest to God, I don't actually need them to do a reading. When I was, especially when I was in the church heavily, it's like walking around with somebody on the side of you constantly talking. I would hear, I wouldn't see anything though. I didn't get visions of things, but people would walk past me and I'd hear something about them. Like, oh, that person's going through this, or that person has this, or this person's whatever. And I remember once one of my family members came to the house, and this was the last time this actually happened. They came to the house and they were sitting there, and it told me they had a miscarriage. Now, they were still under the impression they were pregnant, everything's fine. And that's when I heard loud as day, like somebody standing there talking to you, they had a miscarriage. And I'm like, oh, I didn't say nothing because this sounds crazy. Like, what am I? I'm like, how do you say that to somebody, first of all? But
oh, how's your day? By the way, did you just have a miscarriage? You know, like, really.
This, like,
you know,
I just get, I heard they had a miscarriage, and that's what it's like. It's somebody constantly standing there talking. And when I finally bought a deck of cards, that thing went away, to where it was constantly talking to me, or talking to me about people that I kept passing. And so I bought the deck of cards soon after that, and then that voice left, and then other ones came in, to where now it's sort of like a crutch. I lean on the cards for my understanding instead of just an answer, I guess.
I do the same thing too, but mine comes from, I guess you could say, lack of trust. It's very hard for me to just blindly have faith in something. Like, no, you need to prove it to me first. You know what I mean? Like, which makes no sense.
And I think that's what the church helped me. Well, maybe it's help. I'll say the word help for the sake of conversation. helped me with is because it teaches you not to lean upon your own understanding. It teaches you sort of to let go of what you know or what you think and then trust something else. Blindly trust something else.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
I just have a lot of difficulty with that because it's like I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Oh, Sterling says she has a question for me. Okay.
Because I need things now to make sense. That's it. I want to figure it out and it needs to make some sort of sense.
I want to figure it out too, Johnny. It's just
There's a
like
core to everything. And that's why I can't just accept, okay, this is how it is, the end. No, give me the in between. That I don't understand. That's what I want.
the in between.
Yes. Give me the core, give me the in why? That's that's always the unanswered question. Why? Why does this work? Why
Or
are you
how
talking?
does it work? Yeah.
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 Why do I need it? I don't understand.
Did I ever see the man that Moose was staring at? I think it's a running joke. I don't know if Moose is staring at anything. He just always, for the longest time, used to go to that corner of the room and just stare at the closet. You know? And so Johnny and Jenny had been pulling cards a bunch of times in the after show, and they kept getting a man and man and man. I've never sensed anything in here. Maybe, maybe it's Yaya standing in the corner over there. I don't know. Never seen him.
Not met. I just seen a video with a man said his dog was named Yaya.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He was doing yoga. He said, "Hi, I'm such and such, and this is Yaya, which is golden retriever."
Oh.
The dog didn't do yoga though, so it was a bit of a letdown. But I want to know why things are.
I do too. And it's like all you can do is hypothesize.
Mm-hmm.
And hypothesize and hypothesize. And the more experience you gain and the more you learn to go back and change some of those beliefs or those theories, But will we ever know for certain?
Mm-mm.
I don't think so. Maybe in that split second before you die, maybe like in that half of a split second of a split second of a split second, maybe then you'll know. But what good does it serve you? You're dead.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, he said that his greatest, the thing that keeps him up at night is looking up into space and not knowing what question to ask. Like you can ask, where does it all come from? But there's something else we're missing in between A and B that we don't know the question to formulate to even get the answer.
Exactly.
It's like, what do you even ask? Like we did our stream with KARIN. Where does light come from? What is the light? And parallel this, and is the universe a thing? And like, okay, we can form those questions, but it's like there's an answer there that would probably unlock our brains to something else, but I don't know what to ask. It's like it doesn't even exist.
Kind of like, here's the thing. There's a lot of people that think these magic cards will tell you everything you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
No, because you need to have a question first.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just throw cards and be like, yep, this is what it's saying. You need to have a question first. So
That's another thing. If you go get a reading, have an agenda.
Yeah.
General question is going to give you an answer that's going to lead to more questions.
Yep.
Have an agenda. You want to know about your finances? Ask about that. Don't ask about what do you see coming for me. That's no.
Now you're looking at 850 million thousand different, possibilities. Like, and it's almost like using a calculator and you keep putting numbers in until you run out of digits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the numbers don't go on infinitely. It can only hold a certain amount of numbers. You know what I mean? In a calculator, it's kind of like the same thing, you know. And I was talking to my sister about it, and I was explaining to her the cards, how I see them as a calculator. Like, you have a question. You want to know what 2 plus 2 is. You put it into your calculator, you hit the equal button, and the answer comes out. Same thing. Kind of like a calculator. It's a tool. You want to know what the answer to something is. Well, you have to formulate the question first to get the answer, you know? And that doesn't mean the answer comes out and you don't like it, so you switch it up. Well, you've manipulated the answer. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not, I don't know. I don't know.
We can't save everybody and we can't learn everything.
No.
But we still try anyway.
Speaking of which, I sent you a video the other day of your favorite person ever, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I watched it.
What did you think? Because I thought he was pretty and those are the same questions I've always had. It's like, why is it only the Navy people? You know, like, why isn't it some other government? Why isn't it just regular people? Like
I get, I mean, that's my number one thing I get to push back on, because I get it. I 100% get it. My thing is, I am not upset. I am not trying to debunk nobody's feelings or their gut instinct or nothing like that. When they think that there are aliens walking around Earth disguised as people and they're saving us from ourselves, okay. I'm not trying to debunk anybody's theory. What I'm saying is, I personally don't believe it, and I'm entitled to not believe it, just like you're entitled to believe it. I don't think that something from interstellar space came all the way here to disguise themselves to look like us, reveal themselves only to the military, the U.S. military, to just fly in zigzags and then out of focus. Like, give me something else other than that, and then I'll believe it. There's something else alive out there, absolutely.
Yeah,
because space is too big for it not to be. But is it here? I can't get with that. Give me something else. Give me something other than grainy cell phone footage. Give me something other than a military jet's and its monochromatic, as he said, video. Give me something other than that, and then I'm fine.
There's a part of me that really, really, really likes it, because it sparks this curiosity and wonder in me about, because you're right, we would be foolish to believe that we are the only living things in the entirety of the universe. That's kind of statistical and selfish. Look at us, we're so special, we get to live and nothing else exists outside of us. Like, that's pretty narrow-minded and stupid. But the same thing that you were saying, do I think aliens are walking around in human meat suits, disguising themselves as human meat suits, trying to save us from ourselves? That's a bit far-fetched, because, I mean, there's so many holes in that logic. Like, why would they be coming to regular people? Regular people have no influence over powerful people in certain areas of society, the power structures. You know what I mean? So why not disguise yourself as an alien and actually be a good person and, I don't know, win the presidency and change the world? You know, like, no, it's always regular people that have no advantage or no influence over anything grand. Like, so either the aliens are really stupid. So the aliens are either really freaking stupid that they spent all this time studying humans and making meat suits to look like us to come here to save us from ourselves, but then they fraternize with the subordinates who have no power to do anything. like that would be a failed experiment. You know what I mean? So
and like Dr. Tyson said too, I don't want to meet that alien that flew all the way here just to crash. You crashed down in the middle of somebody's cornfield. How did you get all the way here if you don't know how to fly your plane?
Exactly.
Or your spaceship or your whatever. And then once the U.S. military came and captured you, Why is there no signal going back to home base saying we crashed? Why is there no reconnaissance mission? Why is there no fighting back if you were shot down? And you know, what, like, where's the fill in the blanks for me? I'm not against aliens coming here and walking around and all that theory. I don't, because it doesn't really bother me if you believe that. Like I said, I'm not trying to take that from nobody. Just show me the blanks. Fill in the blanks for me.
And see, Johnie, as much as I love that show, Debris, that was my biggest fucking problem I had with it. You mean to tell me that the super intelligent life form, the spacecraft itself, was so fucking advanced and intelligent, yet you got blown the fuck up? Like, really? With no explanation of how you crashed or what you crashed it. Like, did you not see that coming? You know? So that's my biggest issue. Now, you know, yeah, there's a mystery, and I think it's I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of like one of those things I wonder about and think about. But do I think aliens have abducted people and performed surgeries and experiments? No. Do I think aliens are walking amongst us dressed in human meat suits trying to change the world? No. Like, you know, like, it just doesn't.
Now, I personally,
I would love to meet an alien and be like, yo, what's up? You know, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think that if they really were to come here, we are so programmed to come from a fear-based place that the first thing we would try to do is go to war. It's an invasion. Let's go to war with people or an entire species that is way more advanced than we are. But hey, let's nuke the shit out of them. You know, like.
Because if you believe in abductions, then you should not be necessarily trying to meet the aliens. Because here's why I say that. Our hope and our wish, our prayer should be, if they come here, they don't behave like us.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
If they did, they're smarter than us because they figured out how to get here when we can't even get a person to the moon to live or to Mars to walk around. So if they came here, and mind you, I'm fine with the abduction. If they abducted people, because guess what we would do if we went to a foreign planet and seen things walking around? We'd want to capture one, look at it, cut it open, see how it works, all that, because that's what we do on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
We see a species of something, the first thing we do is try to capture it and see how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they were to come here and abduct people, that should be almost a little terrifying, because that means they have the technology to enslave us if they wanted to.
Yep.
They came all the way here to abduct you, to perform experiments. You have no way to fight back, and they always go get Bocephus in the middle of Tennessee somewhere instead of, you know, like Trump or somebody that would create more attention. They go get somebody in the middle of nowhere. And I'm just thinking that we should not be encouraging such behavior.
No.
Just, you know.
No. I mean, like you said, if there were aliens, God help us if they act anything like us. Because we would be screwed so bad. Like,
because you had no way to defend yourself from being sucked up into a spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody saw it with you.
And you got to think that the biggest weapon we have to our public knowledge is everybody has nukes to where we could blow up the planet like 800,000 times over. So what's our solution? Nuke the shit out of ourselves? Like, are you kidding me? You know, like.
And as he was saying in that video, everybody has a cell phone now. Yeah. Why don't we see more pictures, more video, more footage of the aliens? And mind you, I get it. There's these 4 girls somewhere in Africa. They all drew a picture of the same creature they said they saw. So they say they saw an alien, and it was little girls. They're like, 6, 7, 8 years old, something like that. So it's not like they were trying to make this up to appear on Dateline or something. They all drew a picture of the same creature, and they were like, see, right there. That means there's aliens on Earth. Okay, fine. Find it and show it to me. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not here. I'm not saying people are crazy for believing it. You're crazy for believing flat Earth, not necessarily life coming here.
Yeah.
Just show it to me. That's all I'm saying.
I would love
I
to
believe
have a
tarot because
conversation with
tarot
an alien,
works.
though. Like, that would be really cool. I wouldn't be mean to it. I'd be like friends with it. Like, hey, do you want a burger? Can I interest you in some lemon cake? You know, like stuff like that. But
lemon cake.
But people are just so programmed by fear that our response would be kill it.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Just
capture it, cut it open.
I don't get it.
As humans, that's what we do: capture it and cut it open. If you want to believe it, I'm fine with that. Just show it to me. Is all I'm saying. Like I say, I believe tarot because tarot works. I believe astrology because astrology works.
That doesn't mean we know and understand how it works. We never will.
I get to be skeptical about things. I don't believe the earth is flat. Those are things that I get to be skeptical about. Just like aliens. And mind you, every time a person says the letters UFO, that's the only thing they think about is alien. It just means that there's something in the sky and we don't know what it is. If you say, like Dr. Tyson says, if you call something a UFO, you have to stop the conversation right there. Because you just said you don't know what it is. Therefore, it cannot be anything.
An alien. Yeah.
If it's an alien, say alien. If that's what you mean, say it. Don't call it a UFO. You apparently know what it is, so just say it.
What I find particularly interesting is all of a sudden the release of all of these footages. Like, why now? Why?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Because there's an orange alien walking around. They want you to know that they're here.
His name is Trump. He lives in Mar-a-Lago, currently residing in New Jersey. You know, go capture that thing and cut it to pieces and tell us how it works. I guarantee you, it doesn't have a brain. You know,
he goes to certain Middle Eastern countries with bounties on his head. They just may do that.
Yeah.
Yes, I know, Pam. I want a lemon cake.
Oh, Johnny, I don't know. I'll send it to you when I get my ass down the hill to the post office, but I'm just going to forewarn you right now. The lemon cakes comes with the lemon batter, but then it comes with a separate bag to make the icing. So you got to make the icing. However, the icing is not really icing like you think of icing. It's more like a glaze.
That's fine.
That's fine? Okay.
Because that's how the ones in the grocery store are too.
So it's just a glazing and not frosting on the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it just has that sort of clear sugar glaze on it, basically, and it's got maybe some yellow stripes or something. But
yeah. And how you make the glaze, there's a little pouch of, it looks like powdered sugar, I'm not sure, water and melted butter. And then you just mix it together and it comes out like this glaze thing that you just put on top of the cake. So
I got a cake yesterday. It's almost gone already. It was chocolate something crumb something. I don't know what the hell it was, but it had a bunch of shit on the top and then chocolate chips in the middle too.
You know what I think I'm going to do? I think when I go to the store to go grocery shopping, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get, you know how they have the pre-made pie crust?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to get that. Because usually, like, when I eat pie, if I ever do, the only time I really like it is with, like, ice cream, cinnamon ice cream. But what I love the most is the crust. Keep the stuffing. I just want the crust. Just the crust. I'm perfectly happy with just the crust.
Especially if this cooked fruit, I can't do that. So just give me the crust and all the gush in the inside, then I can do that. But
so you don't like the gush in the inside either?
I like that part, but take the fruit out. If you make like an apple pie, cherry pie, whatever pie, I like that and then the flavor and then all the stuff. I don't give me the fruit though. When you cook fruit, it just has a weird texture and it grosses me out.
So you like apple pie that doesn't actually have the chunks of apple.
I mean, you can put it in there. I'm gonna just pick it out though.
So you like more of the
flavor. That's all I want.
The flavor, or like, you know how like when they put the apple pie filling inside of there, it's not just apples. It's got like that
the mushy stuff.
The mushy stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I just don't like the fruit part.
The fruit inside of it. You know what I've never had ever in my life? Rhubarb pie.
Me either. Strawberry rhubarb or rhubarb. I heard it was bitter.
Especially after I found out that if you eat rhubarb the wrong way, you can poison yourself. And I'm like, hell no, I'm not taking a chance with some asshole having a bad day at work and just deciding to freaking poison a shit ton of people with a pie. No, thank you. It ain't worth it.
I heard too. Is it like it's kind of like dragon fruit. There's parts of it you can't eat, otherwise you'll be violently sick. And it's like the rhubarb looks like, is it like a celery stalk? It kind of looks like that.
It looks like it, but it's red.
You can eat the red, but not the white, or you can eat the certain parts. But it's bitter on top of that. And I'm like, why are we using this?
It's kind of like the that fancy dish. I think it's in Japan, or there's some. It's either Japan or I think it's Japan, where they eat the blowfish, but it's highly toxic. So if they don't cut it the right way, you just paid $8,000 to die at a fancy dinner because it's poisonous.
What is that? Nigiri? Nigiri, something like that. I think it is. I might have got that wrong, but it's a puffer fish, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, let me go spend a bunch of money, and if this chef had a shitty day, I'm gonna fucking die. And LD Scott is saying that the stalk can be eaten. The leaves are poisonous on rhubarb.
Yeah, I'm good either way, though.
Nope. You know, another thing I can't stand, will not come near it. I don't want to see it. Mushrooms.
That's never appealed to me. I don't like the texture. They say they don't have a taste because they take on the taste of whatever you cook it with.
Nope.
No, they just look weird and nasty, and no.
It's a fungus.
Yes.
No.
It's like eating toe jam. I can't do it.
Nope. Tracy saying strawberry and rhubarb pie is delicious. Well, I'll take your word for it. I ain't trying to die. I ain't trying to die.
I can't. Stuffed mushrooms, spaghetti. I can't. No. Nope. There's a man who would come in the store, and he'd buy the big giant shiitake, I believe. No, portobello. Either one. It was some big. No, it was portobello because those are the big ones, right? He'd buy that and he'd marinate it like a steak, and he said you can't tell the difference. I'm like, I just.
The hell you can't, because I've had them, and no. I took one bite and I was like, walked my ass to the bathroom, spit it out in the toilet, and I was like, I'm done. Taking my ass to the drive-through. That does not taste like a burger. That does not taste like hamburger meat. That tastes like ass on a stick that grew out of the ground. No. I can't do it. I don't like tofu either. I don't like the texture of. Hell no. Can't do it. Can't do it.
I think I grossed my own self out with tofu because it just felt like, I don't know. I gave it a weird, connotation, I guess, beforehand, to where I'm like, this looks like a block of sponge.
Yeah.
And then you bite it, and it's like, I think I grossed myself out beforehand, and it was nasty after that.
Have you ever looked at like a tofu and thought of SpongeBob SquarePants?
That's all it is.
It looks just like SpongeBob.
This looks gross, and it's got pores, and I know. You got to keep it in water, otherwise it turns into a violent weapon. You can throw at somebody.
You know what else I had read? That in the Asian cultures, they don't eat tofu like we do here. It is not meant to be supplementing meat like we do here. it is only used as like, I wouldn't even really say a side dish, but it's not something that is a normal part of their diet. Unlike here in America, where we're like, oh, hey, look, eat this. You're a vegan. And you're next thing you know, you're eating a shit ton of tofu, which is soybeans, which can have an adverse hormonal effect, especially in women. You know, so it's like, it's funny how we borrow certain things from other cultures and then in true American fashion just exaggerate everything. You know, like
That's us. We can't ever just do one thing.
we do things in moderation. You know, I was talking to my father-in-law's wife, who she's Chinese. She just moved here like about a year or two ago. And she was telling me, she's like, no, we don't eat tofu like that in China. She's like, no, it's only side dish, but you don't eat it that much. And I was like, really? She's like, you know, she's like, yeah, no, it's too much bad for you. Too much bad for you. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, mess hormones. And I was like, huh. She's like, why America here? You people eat tofu.
Because we overdo everything.
It's like we overdo everything. Hell, you find out about, you know, some specialty in some other country that's only supposed to be eaten once or twice a year. And hell, fuck it. Put that shit on your menu every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know?
Because we want what we want.
Mm-mm.
I like hummus. Hummus is, but you have to do black bean hummus. I don't really like chickpea hummus.
You don't like the chickpea hummus?
Mm-mm. I don't like the spice they put in it. Chickpeas themselves are not bad. It's that spice. It's just, it has too much of it reminds me of like curry and Indian spices. I can't do that.
Oh, I love me some good Indian food, Johnie. Oh my God.
I don't like the smell, the taste. I don't like none of it. I can't.
My sister's the same way. She's like, mm-mm, I don't like, I was like, girl, and I very rarely eat spicy foods, but when it comes to Indian food, for me, the spicier, the better. There's something about curry that I freaking love it. Love it. But you know, those chickpea hummuses, you can get different kinds too.
Yeah, they always have, well, not always. I've only had like maybe 4 different kinds.
What kind have you had?
There was a garlic and herb type thing or something. Because the store I worked at, they literally had like a wall of those type of things, like dips and that type of stuff. And so they had like they had like 10 different hummus. And that's where I got the black bean and salsa one. That one is fantastic. But they got a whole bunch of different ones that just got that regular beige color to it.
Yeah.
Got that hunk of junk in the middle. There's a garlic one that is okay. I can sort of fool with that, but the rest of them, no. There's that pine nuts one. There's
you know, pine nuts are expensive as shit, dude.
I can't do it.
They are expensive as shit. There's like, they sell them at Trader Joe's. The pine nuts, it's like a tiny little bag. I would say about this big, maybe 4 ounces, maybe. It's like $15.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I was like, this better clean my floors for me, damn it, because that's expensive. Like, that's expensive. Mm-mm.
Somebody bought me green chilies is good.
Oh, yeah. Johnie, when are you doing your cooking show?
I have no idea.
J-Lo
I
does.
want to make okay, so I've been watching this show. You know the tasty people that do the quick time recipes and all you see is their hands in the pot. So they have a show on YouTube on their Tasty channel, and there's this guy Alvin Zoe. He does called Making It Big, to where he makes gigantic versions of recipes. And so he made like gigantic pancakes and a gigantic hamburger and all this type of stuff. So today I watched a video. It's old though, but he made a gigantic garlic bread Parmesan something, chicken Parmesan and garlic bread. And it was huge.
Parmesan and garlic. Ooh, that sounds good.
And I'm going to make that.
So when are you going to do that on your YouTube live?
I have no idea though.
Can you please not do it early in the morning? Because, you know, I'm 3 hours in the past from you and you're like way in the future.
Uh-huh. I have to remember that sometimes.
And I
When
hate it because I always feel so bad because I missed your live walks, and then I'm like, shit. Then I have to,
I
I
would
have
think,
to.
the people in California are not in this chat because it's like 4 a.m. over there while I'm walking around. Because I try to go out when it's not, hot as Satan balls outside. So
Mm-hmm.
it's usually 7 o'clock in the morning.
Which would be 4 o'clock over here, and then I'm like, this Johnny's live. Dang it.
I'm gonna try
I think that would be fun for you to do, like a little live cooking with Johnny, and then you can take us to your live cooking or live painting with Johnny.
I did a live cooking once, but the camera was in a bad position because I couldn't move it around. I had nowhere to sit it. I have an iPad though, so it'll cover.
That was in Florida, though.
No, that was here.
That was here?
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn that one was in Florida.
I cooked something and the camera had to be sitting in the window, which it was basically pointing up towards the ceiling. So that just didn't quite work like I wanted it to. Now I find every video except that. Why can't I find it? Well, go to my history. Okay. Like this is just his screenshots, for instance. But there is the stack of pancakes. He made a
Holy hell.
version of them. Focus camera when I'm trying to show something.
My fat ass would eat that up in a second. Hold on, I'm going to try to make you bigger. Wait, how do I make you bigger? Johnny, why won't it let me make you bigger?
But that's the thing, and I want it to focus. I think it won't focus. The phone's too bright. That's what it is. Okay, there it should focus now. But God damn it.
Johnny, are those pancakes that massive, or is my depth perception off?
No, it's that big. And this is not clickbait. This is really that big. That's a chicken nugget she's eating.
That is a whole, dude, that looks like freaking 3 chickens put together.
Yes, and those are French fries that he made as well. And those are the pancakes he made. And like I said, that's not clickbait. These really are that big.
Because I thought my depth perception was off.
There's his cheesecake. He made a giant ramen for the sumo wrestler. They used an ostrich egg instead of a regular egg because they're bigger.
Oh my God.
There's a cheese stick and onion rings. And so, yeah, that's what I've been watching. And he made a garlic bread, Parmesan, chicken Parmesan stuff, something. I don't know. And so that's what I'm going to do.
And I'm going to go to J-Lo's house because she cooks Arabic food. And oh my God, do I love it. Like, oh my God. I just learned how to make tadij a few months ago. We made those kebabs that one night that fell into the fiery pits of the barbecue. So then we had to redo it and we made them into patties and cooked them, but it was freaking delicious. Mm-hmm.
The channel is Tasty, is the channel. And his in particular, because there's a whole bunch of stuff on there, but his in particular thing is called Making It Big. But it's on the Tasty channel right there, TASTY. Just type that in, and he makes all these gigantic foods. He made a Krabby Patty from SpongeBob.
Oh my God.
He made a giant version.
J-Lo saying they made a 25-pound taco.
Oh, good Lord.
So what do they do with this food? Do they donate it or do they just
they eat it because they got a staff, so they all eat it.
They cook for everybody. Okay, so it's not like they're just making ridiculous meals to just throw in the trash and let it go to waste.
He does say at the end of his videos he wish he could share it with people, but given the situation that they can't do that and blah blah blah, but of course they do.
You know what? I'm gonna say something. Waylon, give me a hug. I love you. Yoda's leaving.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Yoda.
Bye, Johnny.
We love you, Yoda.
I know, sorry, I got quiet. I kind of started snoring.
Yeah, she fell asleep. Oh, here, take this. I'm loaning you that. Don't lose my book. And I love you. I love you, Yoda. Okay, bye-bye. You know what used to piss me off? I used to work at Perkins Restaurant and Bakery way back in the day when I lived in Florida. And it was a restaurant and it also had a bakery. So we had muffins, we had bread, we had croissants, everything, just a bakery. And I worked the night shift. And every night when they would close, all that crap that was in the bakery, they'd throw it in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to have homeless people that would come by asking for food, and they would straight up tell them no, and that would go in the trash. And then their excuse was that they were prohibited by law because if they were to get sick, then they would be held liable. And it's like, so what's the difference between you giving it to them and them fishing it out of the fucking dumpster, you pig?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess the argument would be
sit it by the dumpster in a box so they can get it and not have to dig it out or something.
You know, so what would your excuse be? They were fishing through the garbage and food that was contaminated and they got sick themselves. Like, it's almost to the level of cruelty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or why not give it to the churches or the food banks? Their excuse was that they could be held liable if somebody were to get sick. Is it expired food? No.
They always used to tell
you just made it fresh that day, or you're throwing it out because it's no longer.
And that's another thing.
Fresh
it's
baked.
not expired because you made it today.
Yeah.
Like,
yes. But just because it wasn't fresh, you know, made that, you know, they, like, I guess they couldn't, well, they could, they just chose not to put it out the very next day, because that's when, you know, the bakers would come in first thing in the morning. I think the bakers used to come in at like 4 or 5 in the morning to make all the muffins and the breads and all that other stuff. But it's like, because it's been sitting there for less than 24 hours, just going to throw it in the trash with all the waste from the kitchen. So it's just wasteful. It's just wasteful, you know?
mm-hmm. When we were in all of retail that I've always worked, if you say, for instance, you're opening a box of something and you cut it too deep and you cut the top of some, like a bag of cookies or something,
yeah.
You didn't just throw them away, you had to destroy it. So that means you poured some sort of chemical on it to where nobody could take it out of the dumpster and bring it back in the store to return it, is what they always said. And then any kind of food that you had to be thrown away. It couldn't be donated either, because the first thing they'd say is, if somebody gets sick, then they can sue us. And I'm like, well, first off, this is a store.
They're going to get sick because you poured gasoline on it, you asshole. You know, like,
but we got packaged food. We didn't cook none of this. So if they get sick, why would they come back to us to try to sue us? Then on top of that, if there's a video, John Oliver with Last Week Tonight or whatever he calls it, he's done one of his little deep dives, and Bill Clinton signed into law the Good Samaritan Act, to where you cannot be sued if you donated food unless you donated it with the intention on poisoning someone.
Yeah.
So you are safe and covered under the law, because he signed that into law. You are safe to donate your unused food.
Yeah.
So you can do it and not be sued. It's already part of the law, but they still, now mind you,
crouch behind it because they can still write it off as a loss.
There you go. That's what this really is.
That's what it is. I'm going to give me 1 second, Johnny. I have to use the restroom.
They can write it off and say, you know, we had a loss, and here's you know, our losses for the year, so you can claim it on your taxes and things like that. So not to mention how many homeless and hungry people out there are looking to sue you over some old food. And it's not even old. It's just stuff you threw away. So it's not really about they can sue us. It's about your write-off.
Yeah.
Because everything that we destroy, we write it off.
Yep. Did you see that thing? I think it came out in the news about a week or two ago. I didn't watch it. I just caught the headlines, but I didn't see the video. That they were reporting about the hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of products that Amazon throws away every day.
I seen that. Yes.
What was that about?
What did they
I
throw
didn't
away?
read the story. I just kind of saw the headline, but then I went back to work and I didn't. I was like, "Are you?"
I just seen that headline.
Right
I was thinking, what are you even throwing away?
It just looked the clip from the video, Johnny, just looked like a pile of Amazon boxes that had been cut open with just product all over the place, not damaged, not nothing, just shit that they were throwing out. And Cheryl is saying CBC did a whole series on repackaged food and Amazon is the worst. I don't know what
And
that
I'm
means.
thinking, is it returned items that they can't resell, or that it's not resellable condition?
I'm not sure.
Or they just throwing away stuff?
Hold on, let me see if I can Google that because I didn't read. What should I Google? Amazon waste products?
That should bring it
Well,
up.
no, because that'll give me toilet paper. Let me see. Hold on. Report.
Oh, Misty Rose says they throw away returns.
Amazon returns.
You can buy pallets of return. That makes sense though, because when I was in retail, those are the things we throw away the most is returns.
But see, here's the thing. I think that that's bullshit. You know why? Because when I got into gardening, I had ordered a grow kit from Amazon and I paid like $78 for it. And the only reason I chose that one was because it came with the tiny little, well, it wasn't tiny, it's fairly large sized, of this plastic thing that has the dome. So it acts like the humidifier for the seedlings. And what made that product unique was it came with the entire setup with the grow light and a heating mat. It was $78. I received the package and you can see where one label had been put over the other.
Mm-hmm.
And when I opened the package, there was parts missing. It didn't have the light and it didn't have the heating mat. The heating mat alone, if I were to purchase a heating mat alone, I would have paid like 30 or 40 bucks. That's why I went for that bundle. So they did send me a returned item. Somebody ordered it, took the heating mat and returned, so it was an incomplete return, so it's not like, I don't know, but it says here, I found an article, Johnny, but it's from 2020. It says hidden cameras and secret trackers. Wait, this says reveal where Amazon returns end up. I don't know. And you know what where I saw it? It was on one it was on TYT, but I didn't watch the whole thing, or I didn't watch it at all. I just saw the little thing for the video, but I didn't,
And I did this actually on the live stream. I received 6 products from Amazon that were not mine. They had my name on it though, but I didn't pay for it. They weren't in my search history, so it's not like somebody else bought it. I got yoga pants. I don't do yoga, and they were a medium, so I definitely don't wear no.
I was going to say, how do they fit, Johnny?
Got rabbit chew toys. Y'all know I don't have any kind of pet whatsoever. Pokemon stickers. A harness for a dog, a medium-sized dog is what it says. I got makeup and eyelashes. I got a phone case. I got the thing you sit on your dash to hold your phone, those things. Yeah. I got all that from Amazon in like a 3-day period, and I didn't order none of that. I'm like, what in the world is this? Who is this for?
Did they just ship it to the wrong address, or was your account charged?
No, my name was on it. Now, I don't know, because I wasn't charged for it. It wasn't in my search history on Amazon. I don't know how it came to my house, but there it was. Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Huh.
It went in the trash. I don't see it.
That is so weird. Like, that doesn't make sense at all. Because someone would have to have ordered it and put it under your name, which would mean that there would be a different credit card or debit card linked to your account if it got shipped to your. It doesn't make sense.
Because it's just me, and I didn't pay for it. And I called them, and they said, well, it may have been a gift registry. I would just keep it.
You have a gift registry for eyelashes and yoga pants?
That's what I'm like. It's not on my wish list to have eyelashes and yoga pants. It just ain't. I don't care how fancy I'm trying to be.
That doesn't make sense.
For that.
That doesn't make any sense.
And I didn't have a UPS store close to me that I can just walk and send it back anyway. But I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I just threw it away.
Yeah, I remember when I had to return the package where they sent me an incomplete item that they shipped me that was a initial return from somebody else. I had to go to the UPS store to return it. Like, I couldn't just go to the UPS store at like Staples or something, you know. I had to like physically go to a regular UPS store to return it to them.
Because I had a authorized person down the street, but that's not where I could take it. You can take it to Kohl's or you can take it to UPS store. And at the time, it's like, okay, I'm moving, first of all, and I'm not about to take an Uber to the UPS store to send back Amazon stuff. Just throw the crap away. That's, you know, something else in a landfill.
I'm just wondering what that whole report was about, though, Johnny, when they were, because
I'm looking for it now. I don't know.
Piles and piles and piles of just merchandise just getting tossed for no reason. You know, but meanwhile, Jeff Bezos is more concerned about building his spaceship to go to the moon and give fancy flights to rich people. You know, like,
Is Caitlyn Jenner still running for president? Not president, governor out there?
Who?
Caitlyn.
You mean Bruce Jenner? I'm sorry if that seems disrespectful. I was having that conversation with my sister today, and I said I refuse to address him as Caitlyn Jenner, because in my view, that is disrespectful and an insult to the actual LGBTQ community. Not after what he did on that Sean. Did you see that Sean Hannity interview?
There is a new, there's an insider report. Caitlyn Jenner wants to move homeless people to a big open field because they're destroying Venice Beach.
Yeah. Johnny, I'm telling you, did you watch the interview that he did on Sean Hannity on Fox News?
Mm-mm.
The disgust in his voice, the disdain for the filth of the homeless people. I was like, you fucking cross-dressing son of a bitch. I hope you die and burn in hell with your mouth open. Like it was just, and all he could, and I'm like, you go on all places on Fox News, who is extremely homophobic, anti-transgender, anti-LGBTQ, anti-everything. And you get an interview with the devil himself, Sean Hannity. And then everything he said about the homeless was disgusting. How he was talking about transgender girls in school sports. I wanted to rip his head off and shove it up his own ass because of his hypocrisy of he is against transgender girls playing in girls' sports because
he's against transgender right, period.
Because biologically they are male.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's a cross-dresser on the show who has a membership to an all women golf team. So it's okay for you to do it while you're biologically male, if we're going to go there. But it's okay for you to discriminate against transgender girls because they are technically biologically male. How do you not see the fucked up logic you're using here? Like, I was so pissed when I saw it. And I didn't watch his interview on Fox News. I watched the clips of it on the Young Turks, and I was like, this son of a bitch. I can't.
You want to be governor of a blue state.
He went bankrupt. His wife had to bail him out of bankruptcy, and you want to manage the 5th largest economy in the world?
Yeah.
And all you can talk about was your private jet and getting the dirty, filthy, homeless people and move them out into some field? Like, are you fucking kidding me? I can't. And then trying to get Tucker Carlson to take a ride with him on his private, like all he wanted to talk about was his private jet. It sounded like a privileged old white man who bought a pair of tits having an interview with a misogynist and a freaking homophobe on Fox.
Because that's what happened. That's what that was. Exactly what that was.
You know?
Now you want some good news?
Yeah.
So there's one of our viewers, her name is Kim, I won't say her last name. She said that she was listening to us talk on one of the Sunday streams where we said we wanted a donkey. And that we like donkeys because donkeys are cute. And
they are cute.
So there is a donkey rescue, actually, to where this guy rescues donkeys just like any other animal in the world gets rescued. And he said in his letter to her that if you were to say you were going to rescue a dog or a cat or even a horse, that people would cheer you. If you say you rescue a donkey, then they laugh you out the room.
Why?
Even though it's an animal, and just like you rescue anything else, they need help too. So she made a donation for us to Peaceful Valley Donkey Rescue.
Oh, look at how cute they are, Johnny.
She made a donation, and he wrote a letter and the whole thing. We got a donkey campaign donation, or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, Johnny.
She said maybe you can use it for one of your YouTube cherries. I bet you it's not even on there, but I'll look anyway.
I follow on Instagram. I follow Long Hope's donkey shelter, and they rescue donkeys as well. And they're just, it's very cool to see them build relationships. You know, the ones that have been there for a while and how they've acclimated, and then them welcoming in the new rescues and those that, you know, the ones that are just very sick due to neglect. Their hooves are so bad they can't even walk. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
because they get used and then thrown to the side.
Basically.
Yep. All the time. So he has, it's called, I don't think that's what it was called. Peaceful Valley Donkey Rescue.
Oh, I love donkeys. There was a petting zoo over in, oh God, where was it? Dana Point, I think. That had 2 donkeys, and I fell in love. And it's like, I want to go, like, every time, you know, Matt would ask me, what do you want to do, like, on a date night? I'm like, let's go back to the petting zoo. Because all I wanted to do was I just wanted to go pet the donkeys and just pet them and feed them. And then we went back one time, and they were gone. They had been, you know, sent somewhere else to live, and I was so sad. I'm like, fuck this place, I don't ever want to come here again. But that was my favorite part. Like, and the funny thing is, we were when you go to the petting zoo, they sell the they sell these little baskets of food for the animals, which is basically lettuce and some carrots and some apples, so you can feed the animals at the zoo, little petting zoo. And while we were waiting in line to buy our little basket, there was a huge emu bird, and we saw that thing peck somebody on the head. And I'm like, I'm not going near that bird. And then it was funny because there's, so the donkeys were over sort of like in the same area where the emu bird, but the emu bird I felt bad for because he was like in his own little enclosure where he didn't really have much room, and I felt really bad for it. But, you know, that's probably why it was hostile and like pecking people's heads. But so they had the donkeys over there. by the emu bird. And then there's another portion of the petting zoo that had this huge thing full of guinea pigs. And there's another part that's got like chickens and these fluffy rooster looking fluffy chickens and little pigs and stuff. And then towards the back, they had the ponies. And I don't know what kind of animal it was. It kind of looked like a cow, but it had horns on its head that were like flat, and then they kind of curled up. I don't know what kind of animal that was. And right next to that animal, there was a pen with a bunch of goats. Not the big goats, like the little tiny, tiny, tiny ones that have like a ginormous belly, but they stay little.
Little pygmy goats or something like that.
Pygmy goats or something. Well, there was a big old sign in front of the little gate to get to the pygmy goats, and it said, "No food past this point." So Peanut and I are sitting there. We just got done petting the weird cow with the crazy flat horns on its head. And right next to it was the pin with the guinea goats or whatever. And this little boy, Johnny, I'm going to hell. This little boy must have been like, I don't know, 3-4 years old. So of course he can't read. So he totally neglects the sign that says no food past this point. And he walks in, and all the little pygmy goats like look at this kid, and they just bum rushed his ass and knocked the kid over. The food goes flying everywhere, and the kid screaming his ass off. And Matt and I are standing there laughing at him like a bunch of assholes. Like Matt's like, "This is the best day ever."
Oh God.
I mean, they didn't hurt the kid. They just knocked him over, and they were eating all the food out of the little basket. But Matt's like, "This is entertaining." I'm like, "Oh my God, we're going to hell."
But I mean,
it's like, where are your parents, child?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh my God. You know, and then the kid's over there screaming bloody murder. He wasn't hurt. I think it was just the shock of getting rushed by a bunch of like little tiny goats, you know, and getting his ass knocked over. You know, like
that's too funny though.
So that was our day at the petting zoo. I love that place. Love it, love it.
Yes. I'm trying to find your channel, Yoda. I don't see it.
Is Yoda in the chat, or did she text you?
No, she's in the chat under her channel name, but I don't see it in here.
Oh, I'm on the StreamYard, so I can't even see her if she's in the chat.
Scroll above, it's like you'll see Time to Shine, Jazz Lady, LD Scott, and then there's Yoda.
In the StreamYard?
Mm-hmm.
Time to Shine, Lady Jazz, LD Scott. Oh, there she is. She says she's listening while she's driving home. Yeah, so I'm going to hell, Johnny, for making fun of.
I need to remember to say this too on the Sunday stream.
Okay.
Because I thought that was cute.
I think that's wonderful.
I didn't even know nothing about that.
And it, you know, that really, like, it really makes me sad that we have so many animals that are displaced either from neglect or whatever, or, you know, people buy a cat or a dog or whatever to give it to their kids and for Christmas, like it's a toy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and same thing every year we would have that same problem in Florida with people buying bunnies. Oh, buy an Easter bunny for Easter. You know, well, guess what? That Easter bunny is going to get big.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to eat, and it requires veterinary care. And then a lot of them would end up, the lucky ones would end up in a shelter or at the ASPCA. The rest of them would get tossed in the street and probably got eaten by a gator or a freaking snake that some asshole let loose, you know? But it's much harder for larger livestock, you would think, because not very many people have the space to take care of a
Or
large
the desire to take care of something that big.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yep,
a lot of money it takes.
Like Marie's saying, or chicks. Yeah. Every freaking Easter, people go out and buy little ducks and little chickens and little bunny rabbits because it's cute and it's Easter. And then what do you know? It ends up at the shelter. Yep.
That friend I have in Florida, now they take care of theirs, but that's the first thing they went and did is they bought chickens.
For Easter?
No, just for pets.
For pets.
Mm-hmm. For their kids, mind you. I'm like,
Chickens?
oh Lord.
Chickens are a lot of work, dude.
Mm-hmm. They seem to enjoy it, so that was a good thing. They bought harnesses for it because they walked the chickens.
Oh.
So they enjoyed taking care of them, I suppose. I don't know what they've done with them now because moving with all those pets, I don't know how that worked. Yeah, and I just looked for the that donkey thing on YouTube. It's not there, so we can't use them for a charity.
That sucks.
If it was a cat and a dog, you can, but
Yeah.
not the donkeys.
I love donkeys, man. They're just they all have their own, like from what I see on the Instagram from that page that I follow, they just all have their own little unique personalities. What?
You said that you feel bad when kids are neglected. Yoda said, but you'll laugh at a kid who gets trampled.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll laugh at a kid walking into a feeding thing that says no food past this point, and
No
you walk
food
in there
past this
anyways.
point, and you're getting trampled by little animals, so it's a little.
It was Johnny. It was the little tiny goats that have like a stomach that's 10 times their size. The little tiny ones with legs like this big.
It's not like the little kid in Harambe, the big giant gorilla. Or nothing.
No. It was just a crew of tiny little hungry goats that just freaking went nuts.
It's not even like Chihuahuas. They're vicious. This little bitty ghost, they just knocked you down and stole your lunch.
Oh, God.
And you couldn't do nothing about it.
You know, and I'm like, where are the parents? Like, you know, there's a big old sign that says no food past this point, and you goats are crazy. Like, you went in there anyway.
And they give zero cares about you. All they want is what you're carrying.
Yep. They wanted the food that was in your little basket, and you know, and it was just, you know, those little white baskets that you can get at Walmart that come to like $5 to a pack for $1.
Mm-hmm.
They're like little white squares with like little holes on the side that you would use for like organization in your kitchen drawers or whatever. They come $5 to a pack for like $1 at Walmart. It was that size tray, and all it had was lettuce, apples, and carrots. And that kid got trampled for lettuce, apples, and carrots. You know, so
You're gonna learn to read science today.
oh Lord. Let me see. In Key West, my cousin laughed when I saw the chickens run around. I said, "Oh, fresh chicken for dinner. They protect it." Oh, that's funny. I
couldn't raise animals that I'd have to eat.
Oh, hell no, I couldn't do it either. Nope, I couldn't do
My
it.
grandfather had chickens, pigs, and something else. I think ducks. The ducks were the only things they didn't eat. They ate everything else. I'm like, how do you not get attached to it?
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Mm-mm.
I couldn't do it.
Yoda says she's cracking up in her car.
Why? I must look like a crazy person cracking up in my car. JLo says you go to Google and look for donkey sanctuaries, Johnny. It's across the pond.
Well, what I was looking for was a YouTube charity. YouTube only works with certain people. Like we can do the ASPCA, but Sunset Valley or Peaceful Valley Donkey Rescue is not on there. They have a list of things you can do and list of things that you can suggest, but they don't ever take it. So now if you just want to donate on your own, that's a whole different thing. But
yeah. YouTube is just I'm wondering where the platform is eventually going to end up, because they kind of have a monopoly on this, because other than this, what do you have? Patreon. Well, that requires people to pay to be there, correct, Johnny?
yes.
So why would you pay to go watch videos that you can just get for free on YouTube? But because YouTube is owned by Google, which is also another ginormous tech giant who basically also kind of sort of has a monopoly.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's the reason that I was saying was I wonder where they're going to be in a few years, because there had been a report that came out, I think it was last year or the beginning of last year, that YouTube admitted that they were suppressing viewership for independent media and beefing up corporate media. And then they used the excuse that, they were doing that as a preventative measure to stop spreading fake news. A Trump, this was way before the insurrection or anything like that. But just because someone is independent doesn't necessarily mean that they are biased in their views, if they really are reporting the news. Does that make sense? Like Democracy Now, they're an independent news media station. And they're operating kind of sort of like PBS, where it comes in through donations and memberships to Democracy Now. Yes, they are progressive leaning, but they're still a very reputable source of news. They were the first ones that started reporting on the whole pipeline that was trying to go through the Sioux tribe. And the main reporter there, what's her name? Amy, I think it's Amy. White-haired older lady, she got arrested on site because she was filming what the corporations were doing. The corporation that was trying to put in the pipeline had hired this entire paramilitary law enforcement to crack the heads of protesters and gas them and all that stuff. She broke that news months before MSNBC got to it. So just because something is independent doesn't necessarily mean that it's fake. Do you see what I'm saying? And it was just the Keystone. Thank you. But it's kind of like they latched on to that. So it made me wonder, like, were they being asked by the other corporate giants to suppress?
So there is, back in the day when they were trying to do, well, actually when they did kill net neutrality, one of the premises of it is, if I am Walmart, I can pay Google to, when you type in shower curtain, I want a shower curtain, I can pay Google to make sure that my company who sells shower curtains is first, which means access to internet and customer base goes to the highest paid.
Yeah.
The person who can shell out the most money. Now, you may have a person who independently makes shower curtains and they make them fantastic. They got a good rating. They got a good everything. They're even at the BCB, BCA, what do you call that? The Better Business.
Yeah.
And so they have a great star rating and everything, but they're still on the fourth page of shower curtains because Walmart, Target, Sears, Kohl's, they pay money to Google to make sure that they're first.
Yeah.
So YouTube is the same way. Now, I think, fortunately or unfortunately, wherever you want to look at it, they'll still be here because I personally don't like Venmo. I don't like Daily Motion. I don't like other video sites. I only use YouTube because that's the one I like. Now, I am also a person who will search for things. So if I am looking for a shower curtain, I don't necessarily want to get it from Walmart because I don't want to sign in, do this, do that. Tony, what you doing up? It's 3 o'clock over there, 2 o'clock.
Hi, Tony.
So I personally will go search, but most people will not. And so the person with the most money who can pay Google, Alphabet, YouTube, however you want to call it, they will get first dibs or they will get promoted by YouTube. This is why if you search tarot, the first thing that comes up is not us. It's the people who do the love readings for, Gemini and Sagittarius and your moon and Tuesday and whatever the hell else. So it's that type of thing. Those people get pushed to the top because they're less controversial and they're easier to promote.
But see, here's the thing. They're also very, and we've had this discussion plenty of times. The way that YouTube monitors and regulates channel is not standard across the board.
No, it's not.
At all. I remember when coronavirus first came out, we couldn't even say it because automatically demonetized.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess their excuse was they didn't want to be responsible for you putting out bullshit information.
Jimmy Fallon could say it. Stephen Colbert.
Fallon's channel is monetized and they could say it. MSNBC has a YouTube channel that, by the way, let me tell you, is monetized because you're sitting there watching a clip of something that happened earlier that day and you get hit with 15 ads mid-show.
Mm-hmm.
But they can say coronavirus. Someone with 17 million subscribers can say coronavirus. A small channel with 9,000, nope, can't say it. So what are they using to differentiate between the platforms or the channels with a larger audience? Because you would think that those people you should be more careful of because their audience is much larger. So therefore they can misinform a much larger audience than someone at 4, 5, 6,000. It's not, or the same thing with a lot of cursing. I let it slip once in a while or whatever, but it's like when they used to be really bad about busting balls about that, it would always apply to smaller channels. Bigger channels, you can drop 850 F-bombs in a minute and they'd be like, that's cool. You brought in 27,000 views or 27 million views. Thanks.
There's one I watch almost weekly. I mean, he starts with cursing and he's funny. So I'm not a prude. So, I like seasoned language too, but he uses a lot, like excessively. And he stays monetized because he's got 11 million subscribers. So like I've always said, it's terms of profit agreement, not terms of service agreement.
No,
because the rules don't apply across the board. They apply to those who don't make as much money on YouTube.
Yep.
The boy that won. Now, mind you, this is why I stopped watching them TYT people. They defended him, and you can defend him because, I mean, if that's who you like, that's who you like. But there's a YouTuber by the name of PewDiePie. He's like the biggest one there is. He's got 70 million subscribers. I don't know if it's all real or if that's just the number they put up there. But he's supposed to be the biggest one on YouTube.
What does he do? What does PewDiePie do? I've heard the name. I have no idea who it is.
He plays video games is how he started. But then he does skits and all that other kind of stuff, I think. So he's playing a video game one day, and there's some guy on there making him angry, so I guess trolling him or whatever. So he called him the N-word.
Oh.
And YouTube did nothing. The company that makes the video game slapped him with the Digital Media or Digital Millennia Copyright Act, the DMCA. So they struck his video from YouTube because it's copyright, because he's playing their product on public forum, which you can't do. Is like showing somebody's movie. But they let him do it because it's free publicity. But since he wanted to come out with this, then they struck him down. YouTube did nothing because he's that kind of big on YouTube, to where he got all the support in the world in saying don't take his show away, because they were about to take, he's got a show on YouTube, they were about to take it away. They said that was just talk, because of course they didn't, and they were never going to. There was another one, the Logan Paul person, who is everywhere now. He went to Japan, to the suicide forest is what they call it, and filmed somebody hanging from a tree.
Oh my God.
Now, you're not even supposed to be in there. It's closed off to the public, but people go in there to end their own life. So he goes in there with his friends and his camera, and they're making jokes while this person is hanging from the tree.
Couldn't that be considered violent content? Because you're basically showing footage of a suicide, which
yes,
is
and
violent.
and you put it on YouTube, and YouTube took it down because of the publicity, but did not strike his channel down. And so nothing really happened to him either. They just took his video down like Big Whoop. Meanwhile, they got gajillions of subscribers. They can do what they want.
Because it's the cash cow, Johnny.
Per terms of profit agreement.
Why would you go outside and murder your own cash cow? You know, like I think it sends mixed messages, is what I think it does. Because, okay, there are channels out there that are straight up quacking on conspiracy theorist crap. Do I believe that we should protect freedom of speech? Yes. However, I am one of those people that believes that there should be a very, I don't know, not necessarily strict, but very well-defined line of free speech. Like, hate speech is not covered under free speech. But where do you draw the line between a channel that's putting out misinformation and conspiracy theories that has already proven over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, more times than I have enough fingers to count, that sort of speech leads to violence? Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? It's like, so why is it okay to have those channels? You know, and a lot of people may disagree with me, but I think that type of stuff should be censored, if anything, for national security, because, you know, you already have the FBI, the NSA, Homeland Security. Everybody is flashing the warning lights. Domestic terrorism is on the rise. You have these crazy people talking about a civil war. They've already had an insurrection. They tried to kidnap the governor of Michigan and put her on trial to kill her. You know, like, there is a long list of evidence that you can point to and say that is directly linked to this sort of speech. Oh, Ona's here. That's linked to this sort of speech. So it's like you can trace it and logically follow the line to its conclusion, which is going to be violent. So it's like, why is that content allowed to be up?
Yeah.
You're helping to radicalize people on your platform, but you can't say shit and fuck in a video. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know,
but you can literally incite a riot.
Yeah, you can incite a riot.
It'll be just fine. There's QAnon readers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can go and say, you know, Donald Trump is the greatest thing in the world. Fine. But when you're doing your cards and you are deliberately, because I mean, come on, you are misleading people deliberately when you say such a thing. Nothing happens. Misinformation. You still get to whip people up in a frenzy and think that he's under attack and you need to go defend him and go to the Capitol and try to overthrow elections in your countries and all these type of things.
While meanwhile claiming that they're patriots defending the Constitution. Somebody please point out to me where in the Constitution it says that if you don't like the outcome of an election, you have the right to overthrow the government. Someone please show me where that is. Is it in a fine print? Like where is it? Where is it? You know, and I was talking to my sister about this today. I was like, what I don't understand is that we're seeing the violence go up in our streets. We're seeing these extremists go to crazy lengths. I mean, hell, they had an entire plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan and put her on trial and murder her. They were going to murder the vice president because they were led to believe, the constitutional patriots were led to believe that Mike Pence had the power to overturn an election. That's how stupid these people are. So violence is going up in our home where we live, where us regular normal folk live. But yet these politicians that are in their ivory towers stoke those flames while the country burns around them just to maintain power. And I was talking to my sister about it today, and I was like, I wonder if those people are all really demons and they're not human. They're just like demons, and we're really not living in the Garden of Eden, because if we look around, everything is literally on fire. So therefore we're probably living in hell. Like that's where my brain went. You know, I'm like, last year we had what, 13 states that were on fire. This year it's record, you know, triple digits in Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest, which is insane to me. You know, I think some streets were melting or whatever. You had a crazy snowstorm in Texas where the fucking power went out and people were dying. I'm like, we are in hell. Like literally, this is hell.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense.
And all the Second Amendment people, during Donald Trump's reign, he gave you plenty of reason why you should maybe take up your arms and try to overthrow the government, because they were literally trying to strip your rights away from you. They were trying to put you in a whole bottle of tyranny. And you didn't see that. All you saw was Donald Trump as a victim.
And you know what's funny? I love watching these videos of these morons going to court and having to stand before a judge and explain to the court and the jury why they did what they did. And all of them keep falling back on he told us to do it. Well, if Obama had told you to overthrow the government, would you have done it? Because that was still technically your president. Just because you didn't like him, he was still your president. So if Obama would have told you, hey, this whole Constitution stuff, not kind of up my alley. I want to stay in power forever. Hey, guys, go overthrow the government and install me king. Would you have done it?
And why are all, and mind you, all of those people should technically be dead somewhere. Because Donald Trump also told you to inject yourself with household cleaner.
Oh, my God, Johnny.
You didn't do that.
Johnny, but remember the 911 calls were going through the roof because the idiots were calling to see if it was okay. But then you had the two morons that ate the hydroxychloroquine. The husband died and the wife was fucking. What would possess you to believe? And he, in their eyes, is a genius. He's killed 600,000 Americans from his neglect of the coronavirus. He told you to inject bleach, and you had to call to make sure that wasn't a thing you should be doing. And then some of you dumbasses ate stuff that should be going in your fish tank, and you fucking poisoned yourselves. Like, but hey, let's go overthrow the fucking government for Einstein over here. Like, are you?
Because who says? Oh, and mind you, that's what the article said, is that they were sitting on the couch. Donald Trump was talking about hydroxychloroquine, or chloroquine is what it actually was, something like that. Chloroquine. And they were like, oh, we have some of that on the shelf over there. We use it to clean the fish tank or whatever.
Yep.
We'll let you put it in your damn mouth. Like,
Yep.
it's for fish tanks. How did you? I know he said it, but still, in your brain, your deductive reasoning didn't say this is for fish tanks. Maybe I shouldn't put this in my mouth.
They probably thought, well, the fish live in it, so and they're fine. We should be too, without reading the label that probably says "Do not ingest." If ingested, call 911 immediately. Nope, take that. We're cured from fucking COVID. Meanwhile, husband's dead and the wife is in critical condition. Remember when he was trying to get people to put flash bulbs up their asses because
UV light would kill it.
UV light would kill it. So you got people trying to drink bleach or inject bleach, other morons taking hydroxychloroquine, and other ones probably trying to shove flashlights up their asses, you know. And these are the people that are supposed to be the smart ones trying to overthrow the government to save the rest of us from tyranny. Like,
basket of deplorables, and then y'all get mad
my
at her.
God.
She was right. She was right.
I told you about that house I drove by that had the Trump 2024, the revenge tour. A few streets down from my house. There's these two morons down the street that are they have one flagpole and they're flying an American flag and two Trump flags on the same flagpole. I'm like,
One of those
saw him trying to incite an insurrection. How can you possibly still be flying a flag with his name on it?
Not to mention, he said he was going to go talk to the president of the Virgin Islands. You can't be president of the United States.
Oh my God!
Say such a thing. Those things do not belong on the same pole whatsoever.
He talked to the president of the of the Virgin. It's like, bitch, did you talk to yourself? Did you have a conversation? Exactly, J-Lo, MAGA, manipulated American gullible assholes. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he did say he likes the uneducated. He loves the I mean, dude.
They love him back.
I was reading that. Remember that book I had told you about people that join cults, and that one, it's on my ebook, that one doctor that's like the leading, well, they call him, I don't know, but they call him the leading expert on cults and helping people get out of cults and rehabilitating them after getting out of cults. And it's like, he was talking about people that are susceptible to getting into a cult and the psychology. And I think a bunch of, leading medical experts have written articles about it, especially during the Trump years, about the psychology of people that are susceptible to join cults versus the people that are not susceptible to it. And it all comes from a place of fear where you are willing to hand over your power to someone else in exchange for protection.
Mm-hmm.
So the people with the guns and the flags and the overthrowing the government and this and that and blah, 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 on its face, it looks like these people are taking matters into their own hands violently, albeit, to get their needs met. But the psychologists were saying that these people have not the insurrectionists, but people that tend to fall into cults have the emotional development of up to a 5-year-old. So they're not emotionally developed because they're coming from a place of fear. So what blew my mind when I was thinking about it was like, so you're performing a violent act to put this person in a position of power to make you feel safe. but they don't even realize that they're giving away their own power to the authoritarian or to the person in charge of the cult. Did that make any sense? Did I say that right?
That's what's happened to all of them.
It's like I'm willing to part with certain freedoms or certain levels of my independence so long as I have this person or this idea that I am protected. You know? And like the Quackanoners, dude, it's like
they're in love with the idea because none of it's reality.
But Johnie, how far removed do you have to be from logic or even the minute inkling of critical thinking to believe the Quackanon bullshit? And when do you
see the latest one, or the latest one that I seen, is that the celebrities are killing babies and stealing their blood so that they can stay young.
Oh,
that's
dear
the, that's the latest thing.
Celebrities. Hold on, let me get this straight. Celebrities are killing babies to drink their blood to stay young.
They're stealing their blood. I don't know. I think they're taking the blood and then they're using it to make a concoction where they inject it into their skin to stay young.
Are they trying to say stem cells with the cocktail of Botox and lip injections?
Scientific. They're literally saying, because mind you, this branched from, it was a comedian. Oh Lord, I forget. I think it wasn't Whitney Cummings. It was somebody. It might have been her. I don't know. I forget. But there's a comedian who said that somebody, I guess, was accusing her of plastic surgery or something. She says, "No, I steal the souls of little babies, and that's how I stay young." And then the quacks came in and said, all of the celebrities that get Botox or get something to make themselves look young are stealing the blood of babies, and that's how they're doing it.
Jesus, they're gonna get somebody killed. Johnie, remember when that whole Pizzagate thing happened? And what happened? A crazy man walked into the pizza store. Thank God nobody was hurt because he went in there blazing guns to, quote, save the children. That the devil-worshipping Democratic pedophile sex ring was doing.
Mm-hmm. Just like Joe Biden has a submarine. This came from one of the Quackanon readers. He has a submarine. He was taking children off of Jeffrey Epstein's island.
I heard that one.
And then bringing them back here so they can be sold.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Why?
The fucking mental acrobats that you have to do to eat that pile of fucking bullshit sandwich is beyond me. It's exhausting. It's fucking exhausting. And then the face swap. Remember that one?
Yes.
But now you're telling us Trump is going to be reinstated. But that one came from the MyPillow guy. The MyPillow guy started the whole conspiracy that Donald Trump was going to get reinstated in August. So now all the fucking Quackanons and stupid goddamn Republican base believes it. And then there was the whole theory about the face swap. And then there was another theory before. Oh, the ballots. Remember the ballot? No, that was the those are Quackanons.
Yeah.
The Arizona
Ninja Warriors with the bamboo strings or bamboo fibers.
But then they couldn't find it, so the Democrats fed the bamboo fiber ballots to the chickens and then killed them and incinerated them to get rid of the evidence.
Oh, God. Why not just use them and cook them? Why do you have to burn them?
And then they keep moving the goalpost and moving the goalpost. That's why I'm saying you have to be idiotic to follow that bullshit, because you would think somewhere your brain would say, well, last week you told me this, but now it's this. And with every new theory, the bizarroness gets worse and worse and worse and worse. What are they going to say next? You know, and people believe it. People, they elected one to the fucking Congress. Her name is Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
She was a quacker.
You know, but it's gotten to the point where it is very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. And it has consequences that, you know, I understand the freedom of speech and I understand our First Amendment rights, but they're, especially with this day and age, where we've already seen the consequences of this type of speech. It's gotten people killed. It's gotten people fucking killed. And that's homegrown from some man, which there was that HBO documentary where they were interviewing this guy and they think they've identified the guy that started QAnon.
Mm-hmm.
Add that to the Russian misinformation. So now it's a double whammy. Homegrown and foreign influenced. Oh, and by the way, we bought the entire Republican Party, so eat that. You know, and it's like, it sounds horrible to say that perhaps it should be internet speech and all that stuff should be monitored because it falls under the umbrella of freedom of speech, but that doesn't mean I can walk into a theater and start screaming fire. It's the same. It's the same thing. What they are saying is going to have, it's already had consequences and it's cost lives.
Mm-hmm. My problem has always been, and I get it because, you know, I asked Spirit and that's when I got that message of muscle memory, but how can you go to work every day knowing you are misleading people on purpose and then be okay?
Power, money, greed.
Not only misleading them, but you are making them angry. You're making them fearful.
It's like it's like there's a fire and you walk over with like 50 gallons of gasoline and just pour it on there.
Mm-hmm.
Just waiting for it to explode. Yeah, because it just becomes a national security issue. Hell, it showed up at your place of work, motherfuckers. They were ready to kill your asses too. So it's no longer just violence that's only going to be the problem of the little people living their regular lives out there that we don't give two fucks about. No, that shit showed up at your work. It showed up at your work. How many of you are being followed? How many of those fucking Republicans that turned around and voted right after that happened, that turned around and voted to overthrow the election, to not certify the election, how many of those same motherfuckers upped their private security so that they can go home and their family can feel safe after the bullshit they just fucking experienced?
Lindsey Graham got drunk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, vote for an independent commission. No, don't think so.
No.
Okay.
No.
So you could have been that scared.
But in private, I bet you they were all shitting their fucking pants,
Mm-hmm.
up in their security for their own families and themselves at taxpayer expense. So they're safe from the crazies. But let's keep pouring fuel on the fire.
Coming in. There's a mob of people coming in, and you don't know how to stop them. All of a sudden, you get scared.
And guess what? You all wrote the laws about everybody can have as many guns as you want. They have enough guns to kill you 800 million times over, and enough ammunition for it too. You know, so like, I mean, I don't get it, Johnny. It's like
Sterling Rose, I don't see that either. So it might just be on your end. Might be something wrong. It's not in here though. That you're describing.
Do you think that they're going to put Kevin McCarthy under oath?
Who is he?
He's the Speaker of the House that didn't
wants to be Speaker.
And then he was the one that held the vote to strip Liz Cheney of her leadership position. But now Liz Cheney is on the committee that's going to investigate the January 6th commission. But then Kevin McCarthy, it was reported on Politico, had said that he had threatened anybody who goes on the committee or takes an invitation from Nancy Pelosi is going to be stripped of all of their committees. And then when that was reported, he was trying to freaking walk that shit back like nobody's business, you know?
I think, yes. And maybe this was because we did a reading a while back about Liz Cheney and her path to revenge. And that she's not necessarily like going to take some sort of revenge out on Trump, but we got that she's going to share information with Democrats. And now she is in a perfect position to do so.
She's on the committee.
It seems like it's falling together, and she's the lone Republican on this committee. So why are none of the other ones? I mean, and look at it this way. Why are none of the other ones at least trying to get on it so that they can obstruct? They're just like, no, we're not doing it at all. And maybe that's something that Kevin McCarthy said, hey, girl, hey, if you're over there, then I'm going to punish you.
And she's like, fuck you, bitch. You already took my leadership position. Yeah. So shit. I'll have you under oath real soon. You know, so I mean, I can see Kevin McCarthy trying to put up the typical disruptors, the Matt Gaetz, the Jim Jordans, the fucking Marjorie Taylor Greens, the other idiot Bobart, like.
I think so.
And Marie Henson is saying McCarthy can't pick because they voted it down. He didn't read the rules, so I guess he doesn't get a pick.
All he can do is threaten, just like what you call it? What's that fool's name? With the turkey gobble.
Oh,
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell.
He can't do nothing either. All he can do is take you to the side and say, if you don't fall in line, then I can make things difficult. Did you
hear his latest admission? That if there is a Supreme Court justice that dies or retires, he will refuse to appoint anyone to the Supreme Court. So that would be how many Supreme Court justice seats that he would have stolen? Would that be four? Four? Because they got Kennedy out with some shady ass means. So he got a Supreme Court justice there. He got I like beer. And then he got COVID Berry. I like beer was supposed to be Merrick Garland. So he's saying, so that would be four Supreme Court justice picks that Mitch McConnell has stolen. And he's already come out and said, I will not appoint another Supreme Court justice until there's another Republican president. Really? Meanwhile, you keep telling me that Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, and Joe Biden are playing footsies with Republicans when he keeps telling you, hey, we ain't gonna play. It's my way or the highway. I am a tyrant. We play by my rules. And they just keep bending over. It's like there was a report that came out too with an Exxon lobbyist that they got him on recording about, you know, the senators that he has that they work closely with, that he talks to all the time, closely with meaning people I pay to vote my way. Sinema, Manchin, and the rest were Republicans. It's like, really, tell me something I didn't know. You know, it's so obvious. So obvious. But
yeah, we do, Karen.
What did Karen say?
We need to get rid of that 60 vote rule.
Oh, well. And I need to lose like 40 pounds. So that. Well, Johnie, my dear, it's like 3:00 here, which means
It's 6 a.m. here. Sun's coming up.
Oh, the sun's coming up.
Well, the sky is light. I'll say it that way.
I have a lot of stuff to do, and I'm not even tired. Like, so I might pull an all-nighter and then probably sleep during the day. But I think I found the wicks to your blueberry cheesecake candle.
Oh, yay.
So I need to re-pour it with those 2 wicks and let it cure. I believe I found the wicks to the Cafe Al Fresco, so I need to re-pour that one and let it cure with the wicks that work. I need to find the wicks for the sweetgrass, which I think I found it, but then my stupid ass changed the vessel, so now I got to retest all over again because I changed the vessel. And then I got all the Christmas candles I'm still testing. That's like... Remember those the red jars that I showed you that I got, the real pretty ones for Christmas? Yeah. So I was thinking, okay, let me see if I can single wick this because it's small. It's only like maybe a 3-inch diameter.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot get a single wick in there to work. If I go to, because I start low and I work my way up, it comes to a point where at 1 wick, it looks like it's going to be good, but then it doesn't reach a full melt pull and it starts tunneling. But if I go a wick size up from there, then it's sitting all over the place, which means the wick is too big.
Mm.
And I'm like, I would hate to have to double wick it. You know what I mean? Because it's
so small.
It's a 3-inch diameter, you know? So... And I've tried every goddamn wick I have. So it's like, obviously it's not working. So it looks like I might have to double wick it. It's just like, God dang it. So I got a lot of candle testing and a lot of candle pouring to do today.
My paper, I got some glossy cardstock coming. And I'm going to try to print my cards, my Oracle cards today. I printed them already, but they're on cardstock and it's not glossy.
Are those the ones that you sent me pictures of?
Yes.
Pictures of? So you got them printed already on just regular cardstock?
Just regular cardstock. But
let me see how they came out. Oh, I like it, Johnie.
It's just not glossy. It's just regular cardstock paper.
That you would put in a regular printer, correct?
Yes. This one is glossy, but this one is paper thin, like you can see through it. This one is the thickness I would like, but it's not glossy. So I need to combine these two. And so I found glossy cardstock. It should be here today. And
do you like that size?
This size. Well, the size is coming as an 8x10, so I'm gonna have to cut and arts and crafts and all that type of thing.
Let me see that one card again. That seems really. That's larger than a normal size deck, isn't it? A normal size card, right?
It's about the same because this is 4x6, and an Oracle deck is about 4x5 or something like that, or 3.5 by 4 point something is what it said on the Oracle decks I have. So this is slightly bigger than those, but just slightly.
So they're not uncomfortable to shuffle or
no, and it's only 32 of them, so it's not a big huge thing. My thing is I need it to be glossy. This is photo paper, and the photo paper that I had, I bought 3 packs of it, and I had to send the other 2 back because see, it's nice and glossy and shiny, but it's thin, like photo paper thin.
Yeah.
This one is very thick. It doesn't bend all that much, as you see, but it has no gloss. It's basically just flashcards at the moment. So I just need to see what that paper is going to do. I bought my own printer, and I'm printing.
You ended up buying your own printer.
Yes, I just said, you know what? I'm going to buy a printer and do it myself. because I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just going to make it for the few select people, and then send it on.
Are you gonna have a backing to them? Have you thought of that
Yes.
design yet?
No, but that'll come. I'm not trying to necessarily rush it either. I've been told by my card readings that it is even okay at this moment to start over. Like it's not something you got to get done tomorrow. So if I have to start completely over, then that's fine too. Because I kind of wanted the cards to be this way and not this way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
I saw that Marie was asking about the wax. It's a matter of personal preference. My personal preference is coconut apricot wax because it's not finicky. You don't have to wait for it to cool down. You just heat it to a certain temperature, immediately add the fragrance oil, stir for 10 seconds, and pour it into the jar, and you are done. You don't get sinkholes. You don't get all the other crap that you get with paraffin and soy waxes. It's a one and done, idiot-proof wax. That's the one that I like working with, and that's the one that I use. So, or just coconut 83. I mean, there's all different kinds of waxes. I would recommend, if you're looking into getting into that, buying a discovery kit for the type of wax you're wanting to use, because all waxes perform differently. So you can't treat coconut wax the way that you would treat paraffin wax or even soy wax. It's completely different. So it's just a matter of having, some time to test it and seeing which one works best for you. But I personally really enjoy coconut wax because it's just, for me, idiot proof. So like for me, I tried, what did I try? I had tried soy, didn't have luck with that. Then I tried a soy paraffin and I could barely smell it. And I tried everything. Heating it up to a certain temperature, waiting for it to cool down to a certain temperature before I added the fragrance oil, and then waited for it to cool down even more before just a bunch of shit. Like, I don't have time for that. I want to heat it up, put it in the thing, add my fragrance oil, and pour it in. And that's it. And that's coconut wax. Is super easy. You heat it to like 220, 225, immediately add the fragrance oil, stir for 10 seconds, and you want to pour hot, like at 200 degrees. And the whole crap that I keep seeing all over the internet, that the flash points on the fragrance oil means that if you add it at a flash point and the flash point is like 200 and you add the fragrance oil at 225, it's going to burn off. No, that is a lie. That is misinformation. That is not true. The flash point is applicable to gel candles when making gel candles. It does not burn off. I've made candles for Johnie. He can smell them just fine. And I added in there the fragrances at very high temperatures. So
we have multi-level house, so you can smell it throughout it.
Yeah. But it's for me, coconut apricot wax is just, it's a bitch to wick it, but it's super easy to you want just wax? So you want an unscented candle, Marie? I don't understand the question. Am I understanding that right, Johnie?
Yeah, just one unscented. Because scent is just for her.
But but you don't want.
Because she's got the glasses. She just needs the wax. What kind of wax to use?
Well, it doesn't matter if you have the glasses. You still need the wicks. And not all wicks are made for all the vessels. Does that make sense? There's different wick sizes for different vessels based on the diameter of the burn. So you have to take into account too the diameter of the vessel that you're going to be putting the wax in. if that makes any sense, Marie. So I think somebody was asking you, how do you get your cards not to bend?
They do bend. You just have to make up in your mind whether or not you mind that sort of thing.
No, Marie, no. There's different sizes of wicks diameter. So you can't just order a roll of wick and assume that it'll work. They have different wicks. You have HTP wicks, CDN wicks. You have CD wicks, you have HPSP wicks, you have Premier wicks, you have LX wicks. I mean, there's 8 million different types of wicks. No two wicks are the same, but they have different. The wick itself, the thickness of the wick is what needs to be tested inside of the vessel. Does that make sense? How do I explain that, Johnie?
And it's all, mind you, it's trial and error, because all of that is the science too. Because if you add a fragrance oil to it, it changes the chemical compound of your wax. Therefore, your candle is now, with the oil in it, not going to burn the same as you did if you took the oil out.
Yep.
So it's all a trial and error thing. You have to see which wick goes with what vessel and what wax together the best.
Yep.
You'll have to keep switching them out and changing it out, switching them out and changing them out.
It's expensive too, because you're going to go through a lot of waste.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the candle supplies are expensive. Wicks, you're looking at 100 count, 15 to 16 bucks for 100 count, plus about 15 bucks for shipping, because guess what? There's only one candle supplier that will ship free on orders over 100. So you're paying 30 bucks for a pack of 100 wicks, which may or may not work in your vessel. So you need a variety of sizes. I don't know, Marie. I can't tell you what thickness of wick to get, because I don't know what type of vessel you're using, the diameter of your vessel, the height of your vessel, the width of your vessel. It all comes into play. I can't just tell you, oh yeah, just order an HTP 73. Well, you can go order an HTP 73, but if your vessel is this large with a 5 or 6 inch diameter, it may not work. It's going to be way too small. If you have a tiny little diameter, like a 1 inch, a 73 is going to be too big. So what you could do is order a wick sample pack that will come with all the different sizes. Or you can go to the websites for candle suppliers and try to see their guide, which, mind you, is just a guide that will tell you, use this wick for this size diameter. But again, it's going to be trial and error. Just because the website has that recommendation could be based on their in-house testing on, say, soy wax or paraffin wax or something else. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's not a one size fits all. I can't just give you the answer. It doesn't work like that. So I don't know, Johnie, if I do pour stuff tomorrow, should I just do a video of candles making?
I liked your last one. You've done one before.
Should I do it live or just?
I mean, you can
film it.
I'm always here for something that ain't got nothing to do with readings all the time.
Crafty DIY shit. Yeah, we'll see. Because I got like three or four to test that I need to re-pour so that I can test again before I feel confident in saying that. Yeah. But then I'm going to send them to you so you can be my little guinea pig. They're supposed to be your Christmas candles, but you're also my guinea pig, so
I'll get them when I get them.
Marie, that's another thing. You need to make sure that the vessels that you are getting are safe to make candles, because think about it. You basically have a small little container that is working as a mechanism for combustion. And what happens if it gets too hot? Your glass is going to shatter and break. And the temperature on the vessel itself needs to be taken, because anything over 175 degrees from that one wick, the wick that you put in the candle, as is using the wax to fuel it so that it can keep burning. If the temperature of that wick exceeds 175 degrees, you are at risk of having a huge problem on your hands. So you can't just go to the store and be like, oh, I like this glass, I'm going to use it to make a candle. Well, you could, but that glass may not be thick enough to withhold that heat, if that makes sense. So, oh, they're burned candles from Walmart. Well, you can start testing your own wicks. That's all I gotta say. You can't just say, oh, I'm gonna buy this wick and it's gonna work. No, that's not how. I wish it were that easy. It's not. So, all right, you guys, I'm gonna shut my freaking mouth and probably finish reading my little book, Johnie. The new book I started.
7 a.m. So I got about 44 minutes. I gotta.
Are you going to go for a walk?
No, we're doing a stream tonight at 7. And that'll be.
Oh, the healer for the healers.
Yes. 7 to 8-ish. Because it's only like 3 topics to cover, so we shouldn't be there long. And that's it. And then Sunday.
And Sunday, it's back on your channel, correct?
It's on Jen's channel. We're starting over, remember?
Okay, so yeah, that's right. We are.
We messed up our rotation when everybody went out of town.
Yeah, we screwed up the rotation, and then we could never figure out whose channel we were on because we got out of rotation, because it used to be Jenny, me, and then Johnie, and then Jenny, me, and Johnie. But then we both went on vacation, and Johnie stayed and held the front, and then we couldn't tell which way we were reading, and it was. So we're going back to the regular rotation, so it'll be on Jenny's channel on Sunday. Yeah. Then back to mine, then back to Johnie, because we had to make it make sense again because we were all confused. We couldn't keep track. What's going on with my life? I can't figure this out. All right, you guys. Thank you, Johnie, so much for being such a sport and jumping on here with me and Yoda tonight just to bullshit and just.
I enjoyed it. Bullshit. I like. If I don't do nothing else, I like talking.
You like talking? I like talking to you too because you're cute and very handsome, and I love you.
I'm gonna sit in the dark here.
What's that?
So then I'm gonna go sit in the dark if I can. There it goes.
You're gonna sit in the dark like a mushroom. Sit in the dark like a mushroom. You just sit there and they feed you shit and you just grow. You never heard that? You never heard that?
No, I heard that.
Like, I always tell my main engineer at work, like he never like tells me what's going on. I'm like, what the fuck? Then I'll say his name. I was like, you treat me like a mushroom. You just keep me in the dark and feed me shit. Like he gets a laugh out of that every time.
I'm gonna go.
It ain't
gonna be that though.
Huh?
Yes, I'm gonna go eat something, but it ain't gonna be that
though. I'm gonna go have some of my lemon cake.
Oh, that sounds good.
And a cup of coffee. Big hugs to you, my friend. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out and watching us be dumb. Good night and good morning.
Good morning.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Johnie.
Bye.
Bye.